All right, how about that? The Yankees go from losing 3 straight. Now they've won 3 straight, one of which was against the Red Sox. Interesting team. I think they're actually pretty easy to see what they are. They're a team that beats up on bad teams. They have enough bad teams on their schedule where they can just eke out potentially even winning the division if things go their way. At the same time, they have to take care of all the bad teams they play because they haven't been great against good teams. Mackenzie Gore is a really good pitcher in this league. Don't let his 5-13 record fool you. He's a really good pitcher. And I thought he pitched fine today. I mean, the Yankees took advantage of him a little bit, but they only had 6 hits today. And so we're going to start off with this, folks. The prompt, is Giancarlo Stanton the most valuable player on the Yankees? I'm going to answer this with a resounding yes. When I watch Giancarlo Stanton, when he is in a rhythm like this, he's the best hitter in baseball. He is. He is the most explosive. He's the most dynamic, and he's the scariest hitter in the league. He just is. Because when he's in this zone, he is unstoppable. He truly is. And when you couple that with his ability to, read pitches the way he does, being that he's 35, he's not, he wasn't born yesterday, but you see it. Gary, we talked about this. He's improved his approach at the plate. He's not just swinging at everything. And I mentioned this, I think, our last episode. The idea that you're Giancarlo Stanton and you can work a 3-2 count, making it so a pitcher, especially when it's on base, right? Because he's great hitting with runners on base. The idea that you can bait them into a full count and now they have to throw a strike. Dude, he doesn't miss. That's the thing. Right now, we're seeing Aaron Judge, who is supposed to be the best player on this team right now. Currently, he is not, in my opinion. Aaron Judge is, and I love him, but Aaron Judge, we talked about this. My father brought this up. He is fouling off pitches that he was absolutely crushing earlier in the year. He's fouling them off. He's late on pitches that he saw from a mile away. And you told me off air, you're like, look, these mistake pitches, the great hitters make you pay on them. You don't foul them off. See, the casual fan will say he's battling, right? He's battling. But when you really start to actually look and learn the game on a new level, you start to realize that foul balls are just you. And obviously, battling is a thing. I'm not saying it's not. But just fouling anything off, right? But fouling off things that, like, it's a meatball down the middle and you're just late on, that's not battling. You just missed. You essentially had a wide open layup. You did all sorts of crazy stuff or wide open dunk. You had the ball on the other side of the court. You're getting ready to do a 360 windmill, and you botched the dunk entirely. So I don't want to just, like, absolutely rip Aaron Judge to shreds. It's not like something where I feel like he's not motivated enough. He's not putting in the work ethic. I just think currently right now, we are looking at a Giancarlo Stanton that every time you watch this guy bat, I think he's telling you, I know I'm 35. I know my career is coming to an end. And I want to win a you-know-what World Series before I retire. And you see that every time he comes to the plate.
Yeah, this is why Giancarlo, in my opinion, and I wouldn't have said this 2 years ago. I wouldn't have. I would have said, I think he's might be on the outside of the club looking in. This is why I think Giancarlo Stanton's going to end up in the Hall of Fame. Jake, and this sounds crazy. We've been talking about how great of a hitter Aaron Judge is over the totality of his career. Who was the Yankees' best hitter in 2020 in the postseason, in that short season? Do you remember who was about to break the record for home runs that postseason? It was
Stanton.
Giancarlo Stanton, right? Each and every time, Yankees fans tell me all day long, the only thing that really matters is what you do in October. Derek Jeter says it, right? He goes on the late night show. We don't care what happens until we get to the big games, and you need to be the last team standing. Well, which player on the Yankees has done more in winning time than Giancarlo Stanton? Nobody. No one on the mound. No one in the bullpen at all, like on either side. No one has done more than Giancarlo Stanton. And yet again, and you're talking about the beginning of last season, Jake, we were covering what people thought of Stanton, right? Because at the time, he was a guy who was clearly dealing with injury again. He dealt with it this offseason with the tennis elbow, and we gave him the benefit of the doubt because we said he just performed well in October. He was hitting home runs in the World Series. He was awesome. But as we go into next year, we just said, okay, our GM was talking that mess in 2024 with Soto on the team because it seemed like Giancarlo was the odd man out of the group. It seemed like Judge and Soto were this 1-2 punch, the two best players on the team, the two most important players on the team, I should say. And it turned out when it mattered most, Giancarlo Stanton was far and away the most important player on the team. Would we have maybe gotten over the hump if Aaron Judge looked like, I don't know, 2 months ago, Aaron Judge last year in the postseason? Maybe. But Giancarlo Stanton never falters at this time. And right now, the Yankees' backs are against the wall. And I'll tell you right now, and I would assume it's something I covered before. I covered it in my solo show. I'm not sure if Aaron Judge is healthy. I don't know. But I'm not going to say he is unhealthy, because that would be me just making something up and speculating based on poor numbers. Because right now, those numbers can't be argued. He's hitting $120 his last 7 games. What just so happened to be our most important series in the last 7 games? That Red Sox series. Aaron Judge did nothing. You know who did? Giancarlo. Yeah. Giancarlo Stanton is not just our most important player. I feel like it's almost synonymous with being the most clutch and prepared player no matter what. Aaron Boone had this to say post-game. He said the consistency of the at-bat is what's been most impressive. I wish that he used that, Jake, to figure out whether or not he should play all his players, how consistent they are. Spare me with this guy has talent, this guy showed this 2 weeks ago, and I want to see if we can get that back. I need to get him right. How about you build a lineup full of players, compare one player's consistency versus another, and then use that to make a decision of who should be in the lineup. That's why Giancarlo Stanton, in my opinion, is easily, far and away, the most important player on the Yankees. And that's coming from somebody who at the beginning of last year was perfectly fine if he was DFA'd. I can say that. I'm not worried about it. It's something I can own up to. But now that we sit here, Jake, in 2025, is there any other player on the Yankees today, even if Juan Soto re-signed with this team, you would rather have at the plate with guys on base in an important game? For me, I think it's easily Stan at this point.
I agree with all of that, and I also was with you on that in DFAing him. I thought he was done last year, not this year.
Yes,
but
of course.
I thought he was done, and he proved us otherwise. And look, like, you look at last year, he hit 233, he had a 773 OPS, and he had 27 home runs. Is that Giancarlo Stanton, the guy that you want at age 34, age 33? No. But based on what he had been the prior 2 seasons, a 211 and 191 batting average, you take that. And so he was clearly trending in the right direction. Then he gets into October, and was that his best October? It felt like that was his best October.
You said 2020?
No, last year. It felt like last year
if it was
he hit
his
another
best.
level.
It felt like that, but I mean, I did just watch a video just the other day, like maybe 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Sort of rehashing. I don't think people realize how good 2020 was. And I understand the regular season was a shortened year, but with the postseason, he was going to break the all-time home run record in a playoff run. Now, I believe Randy Arozarena ended up getting it because Tampa bested us in the playoffs, but it goes to show you how elite it was. And there was somebody in the comment section in our live chat just before the game, just before we went live, and they mentioned his batting average. I know batting average is it's prehistoric at this point. Since when does a pure power bat that a lot of us think is going to sneak his way into the Hall of Fame because he's going to eclipse 500 home runs? He's probably going to pass my dad in all-time career homers, which is crazy to say, given all the games he's missed in his career. And you look up at a pure power bat, and you just expect to see 240, 230 with a lot of Ks. And not finding your way to first base, just waving at pitches, striking out all the time. Giancarlo Stanton's hitting 313, Jake. He's an all-around player right now, and I have no idea how we got to this point, but as Boone said, it's just consistent at-bats. If you can put on consistent at-bats, whether we're playing the Nationals or we're playing Boston, you can do the same thing repetitively. I just think right now this is the recipe for success, and a lot of our roster can learn a ton from Giancarlo because some of our roster, they look like one player during, in one series, and we're sitting there talking about the hopes and dreams of what this player can be, and the following week, like a Jazz Chisholm, for example, the ebbs and flows with their consistency are just on another planet.
So Giancarlo has 200 fewer at-bats, or almost 200 fewer at-bats than Jason Dominguez. He has more RBIs.
Okay.
He has, and I understand Paul Goldschmidt leads off most of the time, so he's got more RBIs than Paul Goldschmidt, is what it is. He almost has as many as Ben Rice in 60 fewer games. Again, Ben Rice also led off at times. Trent Grisham also led off, and he's played over 60 more games. He has 4 fewer RBIs. Austin Wells has played in 102 games. Stanton has played in 51. And Wells has, 16 more RBIs? My point being is this. Right now, home runs, Stanton has 17. He's tied with Wells. He's behind Anthony Volpe by 1. He has 4 fewer than Ben Rice. What Stanton is doing is remarkable. I mean, the thing that I love, and I texted you immediately, slugging, all caps, because he didn't even hit a home run on that hanging breaking ball. He crushed it off the wall. Well, guess what? Because he crushed it in that scenario, 3-2 count, 2 outs, everybody's running. You throw that pitch to Stanton, he crushes it, doesn't go out, but guess what? Because everybody was running with 2 outs and a 3-2 count, that now scores all 3 runs.
Biggest hit of the game.
It is. And I didn't send it to you. I told you before we went live. I said this today. If this just so happened to be the day where Aaron Boone was like, you know what, we're going to give Stanton a day, whatever. They don't win. They don't win today. They just don't.
Chance.
He created all 5 of the runs that they scored today.
Can I move this forward though? Because I want to move this forward with Giancarlo. What we should do about it? Because obviously, a lot of our audience, and they're right. They're going to say, "Well, we're beating up on Washington. Where do we go from here?" I'll tell you where we go. The next time that Aaron Boone writes out a lineup, go ahead and scribble in Giancarlo Stanton either in right field or at DH. And if you feel that Giancarlo can't physically cut it in right field, right? You feel like he needs a day. Because right now, it seems like the status quo is when he needs a day and he can't do right field, well, they feel that Aaron Judge is their DH. I'm sorry, he's not. Aaron Judge is not your DH. No. Aaron Judge should be a bench player. If Giancarlo Stanton, the way he's playing, cannot play right field and you feel like the only place to put him is at DH, I'm sorry. If Aaron Judge can't throw the way that he's playing, you have to give Aaron Judge a day and keep. How does it help you? How does it help you by putting this player who's hitting over 300 and trending the correct direction, right? He's trending the way you want to. He's taking his best at-bats right now in the games you need to win. And the other player who's still probably, I guess I should say, going to win the MVP, that player is going the opposite direction. Whether it's physical or just bad performance, he's not playing good baseball. He's not looking himself. So having said that, Jake, my proposal is this. Giancarlo Stanton should play every single day. If physically he tells you I can't even DH today, then of course you give him the day off physically. But there's just no possible way that you can tell me in today's game you're going to write Aaron Judge's name before Giancarlo Stanton's. I just don't think I can do that. I can't. And then obviously 2 months from now, I may be having a different conversation. Yeah. But as we stand here in late August, Giancarlo Stanton is the most important bat in our lineup today. without him, you mentioned we don't win this game. We definitely lose this game without Giancarlo. It would have just been who else could we rely on? Maybe you're waiting on Cody Bellinger. Maybe you're waiting on Jazz to hit some type of homer late in the game, but that's not the type of offense I'm looking for. I'm looking for something more consistent. So, yeah, I just think for me right now, Jake, the priority should be roster building. How do we build our lineup to be the most sustainable it can be? Sustainable version. I think that starts with Giancarlo.
I completely agree. Love Judge, obviously, but he's hitting 210. He has an on base that's still pretty high because he walks, but this is a 783 OPS right now. What Stanton's doing in the month of August is insane. He has a 388 batting average, a 474 on base, a 918 slugging. He has almost a 1400 OPS. This is, if not the hottest hitter, this is one of the top hitters in baseball currently right now. And guess what? This isn't just, and actually this is a big thing I wanted to point out, because this isn't just like, oh yeah, Giancarlo Stanton is having a really good August, right? Because that's kind of what people are getting at, and that's what people just assume. Like when I say that, they're like, oh yeah, he's having a good month. It happens, right? Well, here's the deal though, right? It's been going on for quite a while. Like, I actually don't think people are aware of that. And I'm going to bring up some stuff. So, Katie Sharp, blown away by Stan. You very rarely see some of this stuff. The last 11 games, I don't know if you saw this, Gary.
I didn't.
He has a 1,200 slugging percentage. Slugging, not OPS. Slugging.
And people said that it's just a hot month. Well, when you say it's just a hot month, isn't it still the same month? Wouldn't you just build a lineup for that month? Isn't that how baseball should work?
So, what if I told you this? Because we're all worried about being a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has a 1,400 OPS and a 981 slugging, like I told you, in August this season, right? This is the highest OPS and highest slugging in any calendar month in his entire career. He is having the greatest stretch of his career right now. We are witnessing it. And this is coming off the whole tennis elbow issue. The same offseason where we didn't know if this guy was going to play again. Remember? It was like they didn't even want to tell us anything. They're like, we were making jokes. They're like, oh, Stanton is going for his walks again. They're like, he's walking today. What?
The updates were insane. They're like, yeah, insane. He is walking on the treadmill. Or they'd show you him in a cutoff shirt taking a light jog in right field. And it's like, what do I make of this?
I know.
Is this going to be something reliable? Yeah, I'm just not sure I can rely on this. And, of course, you tend to look up and they start to fiddle with Ben Rice at DH, right? You saw Paul Goldschmidt fiddling over at DH. There were a lot of guys that kept Giancarlo off the lineup card for the day. And I guess the question is how much did that affect the Yankees in a negative way? I'd imagine it didn't help.
No.
I would guess. They called it a good problem to have, but they're only calling it that because there's still good players that were thrown in those positions. But just because a good player is thrown there doesn't mean it was the best choice you could have made. So that's really the gist of it. And Scott Ross with the 5. Scott, thank you for the 5. Thank you for the super. And guys, before we get to this, make sure you subscribe. We are now, sounds insane to say, we're now 92 subscribers away, give or take. But we were at the beginning of the show from 10,000 subscribers. We're giving away a Yankees jersey of your choice at 10,000. Not to everybody, but to one lucky winner. So we'll announce that live on the show. We're not just going to give it away willy-nilly. We're going to explain exactly we're going to do that to make sure it's fair. And if you're with us on Apple Podcasts, be sure to drop us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it. And Scott Ross with a 5 says, if Ruth and Gehrig are murderers row, the trio of McMahon, Volpe, and Wells should forever be known as the featherweight row. So McMahon, I saw this actually, I believe it was with Keith McPherson with WFan. Mm-hmm. And the coverage has been on both sides of the fence. Just people are just totally unsure of what to make of Ryan McMahon, because I'll start it with him. Obviously, you put his name first. And he's become a $16 million a year player who's a dynamic glove. He's very good. So I don't want to minimize anything he does with the leather. But he gives you nothing offensively. I know that we saw some clutch at bats at the beginning of his Yankees tenure. All that's great. But the totality of what he's done as a Yankee on the offensive side at the plate has been useless. He is an automatic out. He's not making hard contact. Beginning of his tenure, he was hitting balls hard the other way. You were starting to see some flashes of what could be. Ryan McMahon is a designated fielder that cost us $16 million. Is he worth a lot of money to have a dynamic fielder out there? Certainly. But should it cost us $16 million? Probably not. And Jake, it kind of gets back to the point you were making, is that, yeah, you might have a $300 million roster, but if you continue to sort of overpay for what you're getting on each player, you're going to look up and say, where did my $300 million go? And that's sort of what I feel like when we look up at McMahon and Volpe's going through arbitration. Austin Wells will be through arbitration here pretty soon. We're not getting a whole lot from this trio. What say you?
I got an analogy for you that you're going to love.
Okay.
Klarna. We all love Klarna, right?
Yeah.
The Yankees are Klarna-ing their players. They're like, oh yeah, it's all good. Like we can get everybody, right? We can get all these mid. Yeah, but here's the problem. Now you have to pay that back. You still have to pay it.
Still got to pay him money.
Because I mean, we joked about it when they first announced that you could like Klarna like five guys. But like, think about that, right? You already ate the food. You're not thinking about it.
Yes.
And now it's like you do it once, and you're like, okay, that's kind of annoying. Maybe it's like $6 a month. And then you do it again, and now it's $12 a month. You do it again, it's $18. Then it's $24. Then it's $32. And all of a sudden you look up and you have $100 a month and five guys.
That's why a lot of people don't like looking at their credit card statements. Is if you start to look at your banking statements, I don't know if people do this or not, and it's scary to do it. Nobody likes doing it. Mm-hmm. You look at your own bank statements and you're like, where is my money going? Okay, well, Apple's taking $10. Okay, I spent $900 on fast food in June. Huh. Mm-hmm. That's who the Yankees are. Yeah. The Yankees are the team where if they check their bank statements, they're paying McMahon $16.5 million. They're going to pay Marcus Stroman $18.5 million. They'll pay an Aaron Hicks who's been stretched out over $10.5 million. By the time you look up, they'll tell you, we spent $300 million. What do you guys want? We're spending the money. It's like, yeah, you spent $300 million, but how many million is standing out in the field today? That's the question. How many key contributors? I know Giancarlo Stanton, he's highly paid, and he's performing. But Aaron Judge, same deal. Cody Bellinger, same deal. But there's also some players where you look up and go, man, it seems like once we have to pay Ben Rice or we have to pay, right, a couple of our young players that maybe you want to keep, maybe you want to keep a Jason Dominguez, I don't know. It feels like you run out of money very easily, Jake, when you don't spend your money properly. I get it.
Where did all of it go? Oh, yeah, maybe it's in all those payment installments. And that's the thing, by the way, because a lot of people, which obviously I'm not trying to make an analogy nobody knows. Like, I'm not like a Klarna, But
you see Klarna at the mall?
But there were people that didn't know what Klarna was. Basically, just look in terms of this. They're installments. Like, you're paying in installments. Instead of, I'm going to pay $50 for this item, now I can pay $10 for 5 months. Or you want a big time, I mean, I've done it before, right? You get a big purchase and you don't want to just shell it all out right now. And you're like, yeah, it's like layaway.
It's a credit card, essentially.
But you're gonna
pay that money later.
You do get the thing. Can I Klarna my super chats?
Technically, I guess you could credit card your super chats and write them off as a donation, as a charity. You could do that. But but in the end, what it seems like with the Yankees is you look up and you'd say, well, we spent $300 million. Where's that money going? Well, when you have Scott Ross mentioning McMahon, Volpe, and who was the other player he named who stinks? Is it Wells? Right. So part of the reason why there's such a big emphasis on these three players, one of them's expensive, but also the others are expensive to where these players have to hit. And those guys are just a net negative. They are. I have no idea how Anthony Volpe. We knew it before when I did make that announcement to you guys. A few people in our comments brought that to my attention, and I read them on the broadcast. We knew Volpe was playing today. We knew it. And Anthony Volpe, at least in my opinion, people can get upset at me. They can call it hating. They can say you're just not rooting for the kid, whatever they want to cover it as. Anthony Volpe is the worst player as it currently stands in Major League Baseball. You cannot find a player on any team worse than him. You cannot. He is a poor fielding, poor hitting, poor base running baseball player. That's who he is. And to have him go out there, and I wanted to read the stat. I don't know if anyone saw this. Jake, I believe I read it to you pre-show. And it was from Katie Sharp. Just an amazing stat. I couldn't believe it. Anthony Volpe's on-base percentage, his last 10 games, is .031. He's had 33 plate appearances, Jake. He's reached base a singular time for a hit. He hasn't walked once in 33 plate appearances. That is absolutely asinine. That is insane work. And to bring it back to the positive of how you can apply it here, Aaron Boone talks post-game about consistency, right? Wanting to see consistent at-bats. What did you see in Anthony Volpe the last, 20 games of baseball that made you say, I need him to win today's game? How did that happen? So I'm just curious because, Jake, I know you brought it to my attention that the Yankees have Boone make a lineup and then the analytics crew sort of create their lineup and they kind of bounce ideas off one another. Who was it? Was it Boone? Do you think this is Boone putting him in the lineup, or do you think the analytics are saying it? I think this is Aaron Boone. I think this is some relationship that he has with him where he just wants to see it through with this player and he's just highly favored, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's Boone. Boone is obsessed with Volpe. I saw it today. We all saw it, right? When he was talking to Cody Bellinger and that got on camera. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I have no issue with that. That's what a coach should do. It just feels like he never does that. So the comment section of that video that went viral on Twitter was like, what the hell? You never do that with Volpe. And it feels like there is kind of a safeguard. Like, you can criticize this player, you can get after this player, you can bench a Gleyber Torres, you can bench an Alex Verdugo, you can bench Jazz Chisholm. Anthony Volpe, no. And
have you ever seen him? I don't know if I've seen anything critical out of Aaron Boone's mouth ever about this player. I've never seen it before. Now, he doesn't go post-game, and he's never really critical of anybody. I've never seen him be critical. But during the game, as you mentioned, we've seen him pull Gleyber Torres. We've seen him walk into the tunnel and talk to a certain player. We've seen that happen. I've never seen him talk or yell at Volpe. Never a singular time. And I guess the question is why? What's there? Is it maybe you stand the most to gain if this works out and you can say, well, I always believed in him? Is that what this is about?
I'm the last
I'd
person
be curious.
to ask. I'm out on Volpe entirely. I'm totally out on him. Caballero should be playing every day. I don't think Volpe has it. And I know they keep telling us, oh, yeah, he doesn't get down. I don't think he has it mentally to play in the Bronx. I don't.
So who's better at their job? Is it Anthony Volpe or is it Laz Diaz behind the plate today? Laz Diaz should be literally slicing sandwiches at Jersey Mike's. He is useless back there.
He's so bad, but you know what?
Totally horrible.
It's a
Terrible.
push. They're so bad. They're both awful. I just
shout out to Jersey Mike's. Very good sandwiches.
I'm so over it, man. I'm over the same old song and dance. I watched players that were better that didn't get the amount of praise that he got. Like I mean, there's a player that is being talked about a ton. Would love to get him on. Clint Frazier. I never liked the way he was treated, and I was a huge Clint Frazier fan. And I always said he has shown us enough where if you let this guy actually get a chance, I think he can be something. And I just think Volpe has gotten, and that's how you have to look at it. Volpe has gotten this pass that none of these other guys got. I mean, Miguel Andujar, right? Literally was runner-up for Rookie of the Year behind Ohtani, right? Runner-up. And, yeah, he had an injury, all of that, and he started struggling, and he couldn't play third, whatever. Volpe doesn't have that type of season at any point. Doesn't even have like anywhere near close to hitting 290 or, you know, like what Andujar did, and look at how quickly they moved on from him. What about Gleyber Torres? Gleyber Torres couldn't get one-year deal at the end of his deal when he was a top 3 leadoff hitter at the end of his final season with the Yankees. And furthermore, this is a guy that had 39 home runs in a year. Now we know the juice ball era would get it 2019. My point is that Volpe has never once shown us any breath that he can be like any of those seasons.
If Anthony Volpe gave you Gleyber Torres, if he gave you that production that we saw in 2024, right? Let's just use the second half, because Gleyber Torres wasn't a great player the whole year. We covered that.
Yeah,
He was horrible in the first half. Bad. Then he gets to the second half. We saw the benching, right? That was a turning point, right? We turned the corner of his season. And all of a sudden, what did we see after that point? We saw a 400 on base percentage. We saw slugging. We saw clutch hits, right? We saw him paying attention. We saw him running hard. If Anthony Volpe played an entire half of baseball at that level, do you think there's any question if we bring him back? Of course not. Of course they do. They're trying to figure out how can we make this work. This is a project. And you just can't have a shortstop for any contender. This doesn't even just go for the Yankees. It goes for the Padres, the Dodgers, right? The Red Sox. You can't have a project at shortstop. It doesn't work. So, and again, guys, our voicemails that I could not get to, we're going to get to yesterday's voicemail as well, just to make sure we're all caught up. So we really appreciate it. And Apex with the 2, who's a mod here. So Apex, thank you for doing so. Really appreciate that. Says, again, bench Judge, make G DH again. I think this is a good opportunity to do that and maybe get Judge healthy, maybe get him a couple days off. I'm not sure what the move is to fix him. All I know is it's not a solution to take Giancarlo off the field so you can ride off of what was going on 3 months ago. I think that's a mistake for the Yankees.
No, I completely agree. I just don't. Again, you don't have that luxury. This goes back to a previous episode that we had. You don't have the luxury to just play games with your best hitter. Okay? You just don't. And I understand there's some people out there, I see it every now and then. They'll say, well, don't you think maybe Giancarlo Stanton is doing as well as he is because of these days off to keep him well rested? I do not. You know why? Because guess what? Same reason that you say about the pitch count, that totally nullifies pitch count. Remember what you said? You said they might not be throwing like they're throwing in a game, but they have all of those pitches before the game.
Yep.
If you think that they're only throwing as many pitches in the baseball game and they're not throwing like 20 to 30 to maybe even 40 before the game, I don't know what to tell you. Well, it's the same thing with batting practice. Stanton is still swinging. You swing every single day.
They probably throw 300 pitches a day. When you start, they probably throw 35 to 40 pitches in the bullpen to get warmed up, maybe even more. Then they get out to the mound, the game mound. They get a feel for that. There's probably 20 pitches, and they get warm. They throw hundreds of pitches a day. Now, they're not as high stress as a real game. We're all understanding of that. But the point, I guess, is that you can't just say, well, this guy is in a part-time role, so we don't want to put him anything outside of that. I think that's just putting a cap and a ceiling on what a player can do. And Giancarlo Stanton, it's not like it's his first year with us. We've seen him take on more and do exactly what he's doing. We've seen him go out there every day and dominate. So for the Yankees right now, what do you got?
I found it. I was looking for it.
What'd you find?
I had to kind of skeet by and like, oh yeah, Giancarlo, it was the Katie Sharp thing. And then I told you, his numbers that were the best splits he's had, whatever. I could not find this for the life of me, just did. the Yes Network graphic that they had, player of the game, Giancarlo Stanton. Did you see this?
I did not.
Since July 2nd, that's a 39-game span. So screw all of you that are trying to say it's just August. He's hitting .336. He has 17 home runs. All 17 of his home runs have come in that time span. 42 RBIs. He has a 1,200 OPS. 1,200 since July 2nd. So it's not just August. This guy is ready. He wants to carry this team. He sees he has to carry this team. I love what you brought up. The idea, well, you had Soto, you had Judge. Well, now you don't have Soto anymore. Maybe Stanton was like, yeah, I don't have to be the guy. So he kind of took a step back. Stanton it's kind of funny. Stanton provides exactly what you need. If you don't need him to be the guy because you have other guys, he can kind of just chill in the back, do his thing. You know what I mean? But when he has to elevate his game, he does. Like that's
his personality is very much, I'm going to be cool in the background and I'm going to perform. That's just sort of who he is, which when you describe, oh, that guy would be great in New York. Most times when we say that, obviously we're talking about a great player here, but we're also talking about an expressive personality. Giancarlo is not that.
No.
He's not at all. That he'll be accountable. He'll go off the cuff from every now and again, but really, Yankees fans aren't looking for some rah-rah Francisco Lindor type personality with the smile. We're not really looking for that. We're looking for accountable and contributing. That's it. Giancarlo is every bit of those things, which is interesting because I would say, honestly, some of our least vocal players on this team, we kind of call them our captain, right? It's Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. They're like the least vocal guys we've got. So it's interesting. I'm not sure how it works, right? I mean, you've seen it in NFL locker rooms. Like some guys, you're like, really? That guy's the leader of the locker room? And it's not the cornerback, the loudmouth guy who's talking trash all game? That's weird. But that's how it's shaken out in New York.
Your guy for the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts. He's not rah-rah. I met Jalen before he was drafted, and he's a very soft-spoken, laid-back dude, and I don't think I've ever seen him like ever raise his voice. Ever, the dude is just always calm, cool, collected. In a way, Jalen Hurts and Stanton are similar in that regard, because like obviously he's the quarterback, but you can just see like it's more lead by example, not lead by vocal tonality. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And I think that's the thing is that's what Derek Jeter was. Derek Jeter wasn't a loudmouth. Derek Jeter was always calm and cool and collected. And if he was upset with you or like whatever, in like, an interview, he would say it he's not screaming, he's not cussing at you, that's just who he was. And
well, Derek Jeter also, I mean, we were watching Alex Rodriguez deal with scrutiny in the media. He wasn't playing well.
Yeah.
He wasn't being accepted by Yankees fans at the time. And Derek Jeter would just sit there in the background.
That I do. That was always my issue with Jeter, believe it or not. Because I
think
felt,
a lot of us didn't like that.
Well, some of us didn't. I feel like I'll go down saying this. I feel like A-Rod was the most unfairly treated Yankee maybe ever. Because how good he was, what the Yankees had to give up to get him, because Soriano was a franchise player, and the fact that the guy who was clearly the best at his position was just like, yeah, I'll play third. I won't play the best position, even though I'm the best on the team and I can be our shortstop. I'm going to play third. And if at any point anything happens, I'm not going to point the finger. Like, even if I struggle, I'm not going to point the finger. Well, I'm not playing at my position. Like, Gary, we've already seen that. And not to throw guys under the bus, but we've already seen that with guys in the bullpen. Oh, well, I'm not used to being a sixth inning guy or seventh inning guy. A-Rod wasn't used to playing the hot corner and never once complained about it.
Marcus Stroman did, and he's not even a good player at this point. He's been DFA'd. Oh, I'm a starter. You're not a good one. You
Oh, God.
were a good one, but we have to assess you for what you are this year. Now, to go back to this A-Rod thing, Alex Rodriguez, I think, many times as a Yankee, obviously not more times than not, but there were times where I just thought, okay, he's not handling this the right way in New York. And you know what? That's where it's time for your teammates to help pick you up. But no one ever talks about how he was picking up Derek Jeter by letting him play shortstop. People don't realize that. That when it wasn't working out, he could have just turned around and been like, well, how about we just throw me at short and Derek can go to left field or go over to third base. He easily could have done that. You know why? Because he was the better player. That's why. And so when you're in the wrong at times, which again, I'm admitting there were times he was, and he just wasn't, pulling his end of the rope, if you will, then that's where sometimes you're like, okay, the fans aren't accepting of this player. That's where you show up as a captain. You're like, let me put my arm around him and just have everybody realize this is my teammate and he's going to be fine. That's what you do. But that wasn't happening. So I thought it was interesting. I didn't like it. Obviously, I've been covering that for a while now. But I want to put this up on the screen because we do have an update on scores. Apex, really appreciate that you're also paying attention to these games. I've got this game plastered right up here to my left. The Padres, thank you for the 2, just defeated the Seattle Mariners, thankfully. So Jake just pre-show was actually talking about the team that he's really focused on is actually Boston, which makes sense because we're going to Fenway Park. And Jake, I think the way you put it, you said that I would really like to see somehow, some way, a 4-game lead in the wild card race, just knowing if it just goes AWOL over there at Fenway, we still have some cushion. But Jake, I don't think you're going to get your wish. I think Boston right now is just playing some good baseball.
The way I said it was that's basically how they're operating. See, that's the problem, right?
You're right.
When you have that monkey on your back. And by the way, I saw this with the Rams. They couldn't beat the 49ers to save their life. So that you automatically put 2 in the loss column before the season starts. So like, you can't beat this team. Well, right now, guess what, Gary? I've already put a 63 in the Yankees loss column.
So what do you put their odds are? Like where do you put their odds? Where would you place them? Because right now, we're going to go beat up on Washington. We took the final game against Boston, which counts for something, right? It was Dustin May. We talked about all the details. But then you go play Washington, and then I believe we play Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. Now, that series, you're expecting to get the best of them. But then where are your expectations when we go to Fenway Park? Because it's not just Boston that we're playing. Obviously, we see Detroit, we see Houston, right? And some of our super chatters also brought up our entire schedule. But Jake, I'm curious, do you give this team a shot? They haven't done anything against any team of any magnitude. Do you think they can go to Fenway Park and hold their own? Or do you think we're flying in to Massachusetts just to get punched in the mouth and leave? What do you think's about to happen? Because technically, you like to cover what's technically possible, but we may just go into Boston again and just get knocked out.
That's what I'm expecting. Honestly, this is really telling. So the White Sox, remember last year, bag over his head, Gary Sheffield Jr. over here.
I remember
that was the White Sox series. Like, if we lose to the White Sox, I'm gonna have a bag over my head. And didn't they beat the Yankees and they beat them like 11-1.
Yeah, it was horrible. Yeah,
it was the worst game I've ever seen. Chicago, they have a 4-game set. Okay, tomorrow they have Max Fried on the mound. They need to sweep Washington. If you don't sweep Washington, see, that's the thing. That's the disconnect. Okay, when you're playing bad teams like this and you're showing that you can't beat good teams. You no longer have the luxury of just winning the series. Oh, yeah, because most teams can just win 2 out of 3. You're like, oh, yeah, it's good. It'll even out. No,
if we were worth a damn against Boston earlier, then maybe you can be like, we can win this series with Washington, probably sweep Chicago. But your point, this is such a good point. Yeah. You can afford to just win series and just be a professional team. You're going to drop a game, and it's natural. But you guys were so buns.
So bad.
Horrible. Do you guys remember how bad that Dodgers series was? I don't think people
got swept by Miami. We got talked. Yeah. I'm sorry, Marion.
Marion was like, we were playing some good ball. Remember?
Yeah, we got talked into this whole Miami squad like being this team of miracles, and they were not that far out of the playoff race, and they were turning it around, and they were the hottest team in baseball. Where are they now? And that's the thing. It wasn't Miami, and I'm sorry, Marion. It was literally the Yankees. They were just that bad. So that's the thing that was so frustrating. Then you lose 2 out of 3 to Texas. You lose 2 out of 3 to Houston, including that extra inning game that they absolutely should have won. Then you blow that game against Minnesota, so you don't sweep them. You sweep St. Louis. You sweep Tampa in the 2-game set. You blow the Boston games. You lose 1-0 to them in that series. Now you're back to a 3-game win streak. Back to a 3-game. You could make that, and this is very important for people to understand, because the last win streak they had was a 5-game win streak, and that a 6-game win streak would be the longest in their entire season. So the Yankees could have some sort of moment in their season that's unprecedented. Tomorrow would be 4 straight. They have their ace, Max Fried, on the mound against Washington. Gary, I regret to inform you, tomorrow is a 105 game. No idea why, but it is. Yeah, I know.
Is it travel related? Why?
Yeah, it is travel related because they have to go to Chicago. Related. So if they win that game and you have your ace on the mound, it's a day game. Yankees play well during the day normally. 4-game win streak, right? Yeah. Then you have 4 straight, and I understand they have to travel. You got 4 straight against Chicago. Chicago's terrible. I don't care what they did last year. You better win every single one of these games.
Yeah, I'm sure their win streak has nothing to do with who they're playing.
Well, no, but that's the thing. It 100% does, but it's not going to matter because that's how you build momentum, Gary, is what I'm saying. So you have 4...
which we also talked about that before the Boston series. Yeah. Which you know is like, if we were losing those games, then we would have been pissed. But we were winning them, and then we're like, okay, great. Here's Boston. Now we'll push you guys to the center of the field, and then let's see what you do. They crap down their leg, and then now we're going on another win streak against the Sisters of the Poor, and we're buying ourselves more time to go back to Boston and retake the test. We're just retaking the exam at Fenway. Isn't that exactly what we're about to do?
Hey, we're so back after beating see? Willie Downer knows. We're so back after beating the Washington Nationals and Chicago White Sox. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though, right?
Hopefully they get into the wild card.
Tomorrow, 4, if they win, 5, 6, 7, 8. You could have a maximum of 8 wins straight, then go into a day off and then play Houston. And you could actually show yourself and kind of reestablish yourself with an 8-game win streak, a day off, and playing Houston. If you beat Houston, you got, by the way it's working out, you would have Fried, Warren, and Rodon in Houston, right? Then you have Toronto, Detroit, Boston. So the Yankees are going to have to, and I'm sorry to tell you this, the Yankees have to win 8 straight. They have to complete this. This is, in my opinion, the whole drastic measures. This is the drastic measure they have to take. If they win 8 straight, get the day off, start their September in Houston on an 8-game win streak, and they play Houston tough, and they win 2 out of 3, and then they play Toronto tough, and then they play Detroit tough, and this is not easy. But if they could win, and hear me out, Gary, so you win 8 straight, right? You beat Houston. Say you play Toronto tough, you lose 2 out of 3, whatever. You lose 2 out of 3 to Detroit, or you win 2 out of 3 against Detroit. Well, now you've given yourself some breathing room where that Boston series might not actually cripple you, regardless of the outcome. So
we definitely agree that you don't want to play with your food, especially against all these bad teams, because then it just puts you in a position where you've got to pass with flying colors at Fenway. We're not doing that.
No, maybe you got to be realistic.
You got to be realistic, but for the Yankees to go into Fenway, is it a 4-game series?
Boston or
in Boston?
No, it's a 3-game, which is the good thing.
It's a 3-game, right? So for anyone to even come up here in our comment section or just anywhere ever on this planet Earth to even suggest Now, can it physically happen? Of course. Of course it can. But for anyone to predict, oh yeah, the Yankees are going to go into Fenway and take 2 of 3 or sweep, you are smoking something. And I'm not sure what it is. So your point remains exactly true. The Yankees have to annihilate Washington. They have to complete the sweep. You got to go, at the very least, take 3 or 4 from Chicago. You should sweep that team.
You better sweep that team.
Perfect.
The Sisters of the Poor? Nah.
Perfect. So you go sweep them. You sweep Washington. You sweep Chicago. They both stink. Okay, great. Everyone in our comments is going to say, well, those teams stunk. That's why we went on the win streak. It's true, but we move on. Then you move on and you have some type of leverage, where you can go to Fenway and losing 2 of 3 doesn't just put the nail in your coffin. That's what we're hoping for. Now, will that happen? I don't know, because we had this exact same perspective when they flew Delta first class over to Colorado, and we were saying, all right, well, they're probably going to go in there and sweep Colorado. That's a nice consolation. Well, that didn't happen.
And you know what? That was okay then, because they hadn't collapsed. Now it would be diabolical.
Yeah, it would be pretty bad.
Mind you, the Yankees' record, if they win the next 5 games, becomes 77-60. So the point being is this would be the best they've been all year. That's insane to think. They're 17 games above 500. Best they've been all year. Best win streak. And they've looked like the worst baseball team you've seen for the majority of the year.
I think that makes perfect sense, because remember, when we got to the point where we get to the break, we weren't happy with where we were. Then a couple weeks went by, and then you brought up, you said, Gary, do you know what our schedule is the rest of the way? And obviously I didn't know, because I was pissed off about the Yankees anyway. And you said we have the 4th easiest schedule in baseball. 4th easiest. Now, teams with the 4th easiest schedule, that doesn't just mean you're going to win. But what do we know about the Yankees? They beat up on the crappy, and the good beat up on us. They make us look crappy. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you have the 4th easiest schedule, you're going to see a lot of Washingtons. You're going to see a lot of St. Louis and Minnesotas who just sold. You're going to see that. So that, to me, the Yankees haven't played good baseball, it feels like, in 3 months. And you can play some pretty dumb baseball like today. And for those of you who say I never criticized Cody Bellinger was sleepwalking in left field today. He just lobbed a ball in from left field, and the guy didn't have a jump whatsoever. Should have been out by 30 steps, ends up safe at the plate. Didn't matter in hindsight, which is great, but those plays can't happen, right?
No.
You can get away with that against Washington. Washington stinks. You can sleep for the first 5 innings and still find a way to win, because you guys have that much more talent than they do. So does the rest of the good teams in the league. But if you walked into a series at Fenway and you're sleepwalking in left field, or you don't know how many outs there are, if you're Austin Wells or Jason Dominguez, he forgets the outs and he's going back, he doesn't know to tag up, that could cost you a big game in a big series. So, Jake, I'm hopeful that they can still go into Boston and hold their own, but that's just something we're going to have to see. And Rick K with the 5, really appreciate it, Rick. Thank you. Says Stanton is carrying the team, Judge is not pulling his weight. Not at all. That is not sustainable. Some people have used this as a way to criticize us, by the way, is that Aaron Judge, they did this last year. It's just Judge and Soto. They made it seem like it was a bad thing that we had this 1-2 punch, obviously with Giancarlo behind that, but people made it seem like it's horrible to have 2 MVP candidates going back to back and then the rest just okay players. That's still good to have. Like, we can't act like it's not. But the problem with it is when you have a roster like the roster that we have, where there's a black hole in McMahon and Volpe and Wells, and sometimes they all 3 find their way in the lineup. They do. And then Judge stops hitting. You guys think you're going to win big games? Of course not. The only way the Yankees are going to win these games is if Aaron Judge looks like Judge. And I'm just not sure when that happens, Jake. I'm not sure what are you seeing? Maybe not from a physical perspective, but I know you said your dad was saying he's just missing pitches in the middle of the zone. He's fouling off those pitches. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a player who's just missing mistakes.
The controlled aggression isn't there. I feel like he's a tick behind. And I mean, just from personal experience playing baseball, I find this after coming back from like any sort of injury, you miss a game or whatever, there's like a rustiness involved. But the fact
Right.
that this is happening still, he's been in the line for a while, Gary. He has. So I feel like I don't know for sure, but I do feel like that injury has to be affecting him in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it's a mental thing, right? Because, I mean, keep in mind, Ohtani, he hit with the Tommy John surgery. But you know who didn't? Jason Dominguez. So I feel like everybody's different.
It was brought up in our comments, and I thought it was really valid, is that with Ohtani, people were saying, well, that's his lead arm, and it's not as strenuous as it is on your trail.
Yeah.
Now, for Jason Dominguez, he's a switch hitter. So it could affect you on one side of the plate versus another. And maybe a player, they may perceive it as if he's going to be a switch hitter in the future, we can't hamstring his development by having him only hit on that side of the plate. So that's what I think that was about. Because obviously Shohei Ohtani said that injury is not affecting my plate. Like my appearances at the plate,
it wasn't
just
affecting it.
No, God, no. The results have been identical.
But I almost feel like with Judge, don't you feel like having Stanton on your team and seeing what he did? I mean, the whole tennis elbow thing, right? And then, Judge has been fairly healthy since that injury in 2022, or 2023, I believe. So, I mean, I could see him almost kind of thinking about it, like it's in the back of his mind. And I don't know. I think it doesn't have to be that you changed anything, just that if it's taking any sort of real estate in your head, it can get after you. And I mean, there's no logical explanation as to why a guy who at one point was hitting over 400 and did it for a little bit is now hitting 320, is now hitting 220 in the month of August, is now not hitting a bunch of home runs, and is fading, like falling off a damn cliff, like a bad stock. I don't know. But right now, I don't think, and again, this is what it comes down to, I don't think the Yankees have the real estate. I don't think they have the luxury to sit there and wait for him to figure it out. I think they might have to pull the plug. And I'm not saying bench him for the season, but I'm saying currently, you just gave Volpe a reset, which was the dumbest thing ever. The 2-game.
He doesn't need a reset. He needs to be unplugged and, I don't know, recycled, put in the drawer somewhere, just never seen. You should never be looking to reset from a career 220 hitter.
That's
because we're not that far off, by the way.
I like that you said that, because that was actually what I was getting at. See, Judge
my
could
tweet?
actually.
Did you see my tweet?
I didn't see your tweet, but I like what you just said, because Judge, this is an MVP. This is a multi-MVP. Like, yeah, give him a reset. What reset is Volpe getting by being off 2 games? Volpe shouldn't be playing. The only reset that might actually work, and it's exactly what we said back in June, is sending him down to AAA. That's the only reset. Yeah. That's it. But there's a chance that he's just not a good player. And I think that chance just gets higher and higher every day. And right now he's not. But I mean, there's a chance he never becomes good. And so that's the thing. But with Judge...
there's a chance.
Yeah. With Judge, though, it's like there's a chance that if you give him like a few days off, if it's mental, he can get out of this. But the worst thing to do is when somebody's struggling, and this is the interesting thing. This is dependent on the manager, because some people see this a different way. It's no different than a coach in the NBA. You're on a bad run. Some coaches will be like, if I call a timeout, it sends the message that I don't believe in these guys to bounce back and end this run. But then there's also coaches that do call the timeout almost immediately, because they're like, no. We're not going to let this bleed. We are gonna stop the bleeding right now.
What are they resetting to, by the way? Because you mentioned reset. Judge? With Anthony Volpe. Because I agree with you on trying to reset him. I just think it's the dumbest thing ever. When they say we're looking to reset him, which factory reset are we going back to? Which edition? Is it Anthony Volpe 1.0 that in 2023, or is this... Because keep in mind, if you could snap your fingers and give us, I don't know, March Volpe, I wouldn't want that. If you could snap your fingers and be like, give me June. Is it better than what we're getting now? I guess certainly, right? But the glove's been gone all year. He's been horrible, horrifying. And we've been struggling to get Aaron Boone to admit that the glove's not there. He finally was like, yeah, he's kind of falling back, but he's going to be there. He's elite, right? He just reinforced it again. We hated that part of it. But what do they mean by reset this player? Anthony Volpe, and this was my tweet, Jake, is that the broadcast was covering it that he's in a slump. I don't think he's in a slump at all. There, I said it. I don't think Anthony Volpe's in a slump. I think this is what he is. Anthony Volpe is a career 220 hitter. That doesn't mean he hits 220. He's not going to hit 220 for this week where he sprinkles in a hit to get to 220. No, Jake. He's going to go 7 for 10 in a series, and we're going to go, could Volpe be back? Wow. Then he's going to go 0 for 40. That's who he is. He does it every single time. So they keep calling this a slump. This is exactly who he is.
Didn't you say it was one for 31?
1 for 33.
1 for 33. Okay, so the average, think about this. The average number of pitches per at-bat is 4, right? So we're talking he's seen over 120 pitches and he has 1 hit.
Right. So I guess my question is what are you resetting to? He's never been the version that you sold us for him to be. He's never been that player. So that's sort of why you have to look at the player from player to player basis. You said Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is a player worth resetting on. I want to get the median Aaron Judge. That would suffice right now. Our earlier super chats, he needs to pull rope. Well, what does he normally do? He normally pulls rope. He does. Let's not have revisionist history. Aaron Judge is normally great at this time of the year. He's just not right now, and we had to cover it. But there's just certain players that are worth the reset, certain players that are not. Ed W., who's our first member for a full year. So our podcast has been in existence for about a year and a half. Ed. Ed W.'s been a big-time fan of ours for a while now, and he's been awesome in our comment section. So Ed, always love when you stop by. Says, today proves again that this home run derby lineup is a joke in the clutch. No grinding out at bats, bases loaded twice, wasted away on horrid square button swings. I like that we're now becoming accustomed to the square button swing.
Yes.
They need 9 Stantons to overcome this. So Ed, here's the verdict, and you know this, but I'm going to rehash it on the show. When you're a team that only scores via the home run, and that's exactly what the Yankees do, exactly. You're going to score more times than not early on in games against the team's worst arms, right? The 3 through 5 starters. Anytime we see a team's ace or their 2, for the most part, on good teams, we're dominated. But then when you see teams that go out there and they go, oh yeah, their bullpen's banged up and they're going to use a guy maybe they otherwise wouldn't want to, we score a lot of runs. We've scored a lot of runs, Ed, this season. Our numbers overall look pretty good, Jake. As a unit, the problem is, and it's back to the point that your dad brings up, Jake, they don't score any important runs. They don't score against good pitching, right? They don't grind. And it's noticeable when certain players do. Giancarlo Stanton does. Cody Bellinger does. Jazz Chisholm for a month and a half there also was, right? He was getting to a point where he was telling us, oh yeah, my 70% swing is actually my best swing I've got. We're like, oh really? That's what we've been saying the whole time. And now that you're getting that production, we're like, okay, that checks him off. How many more players? Is it going to be a Jason Dominguez? Who's it going to be? Who's going to divorce from this home run mentality where I'm waiting to face bad pitching? So Ed, I don't know if this changes. I don't. I did mention previously, Jake, we brought this up, is that this might be something they change in an offseason, but so far they haven't proven they can score against really good pitching or in the clutch.
It's a philosophical issue. I mean, that's really the issue right now. I feel like this is from the analytics department. I think launch angle, a lot of liftoff, fly balls. It's not home run or strikeout, right? Because that's a very simplified way of saying it. It's that they're obsessed with launch angle. They're obsessed. And to be fair, we did absolutely bully DJ LeMahieu for killing bugs. We bullied Verdugo, right? At the same time, though, like, we talked about it, Chandler Simpson, I think his name is, for Tampa. Dude does not have any home runs. His slugging percentage is dog water. Or not slugging, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, no, his slugging is bad. We want line drives, though.
His slugging is bad. But he is a line drive hitter. Mm-hmm. He's either getting on base or not. But his line drives, it keeps him around a 300 batting average. Like, that right there is useful. And so, like, you look at a Paul Goldschmidt today against left-hand pitching. I don't need him to take a lift off. He hits it in the gap. Now I have a double. If there's anybody on base, now I got at least 2 runs. You know? So, like, that's the thing with Stanton. That's what actually irks me the most. Stanton isn't trying to take off. He's not trying to take lift off every swing. Just because he hits the ball harder than just about anybody on the team does not mean every single swing is designed to take lift off. And I think the thing that, you know, everybody in this lineup could learn is that when you have bases loaded, we saw it today. A gapper is going to score 3, right? And the thing that's so frustrating to me, right, is when Stanton's up at the plate and Stanton's up at the plate, right, Gary? And we'll see. You would think, and this is actually really funny, the people that don't watch Giancarlo Stanton have no idea, right? People that are just looking at his numbers would just assume that he's swinging early on the count and he's striking out a ton and he's not walking. That couldn't be further from the truth. He's actually working counts. He's grinding at bats. Because guess what? You can do both. You can swing for the fences and you could also grind out an at bat.
You can't? You can actually do it? Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
You'd hope that some of our roster would realize that this was the case.
You would hope.
You would hope that they would watch. They watch them more than we do, right? We don't watch batting practice. We don't see what's going on in the cages. They're sitting. They have the best seats in the house. They're sitting in the dugout. Jake, I don't know about you. I'd love to be in there.
Yeah.
I would love to watch the game from the railing. And yet, some guys on our roster, and I was going to say I won't throw him under the bus, players like Austin Wells, for example. Austin Wells doesn't do anything unless he's hitting a home run. He just doesn't. You would think it was the only thing he's allowed to do. There's a gun to your head. You're not allowed to hit the ball unless it goes over the wall. And that's going to be your approach. You don't have to play that way. Austin Wells, by the way, I think he should be a good player. I really believe that. I think he should be a quality offensive player. He's completely gone away from his offensive approach, which is being patient, getting himself in hitters' counts. And now it's like he's gotten freaked out to the point they've realized, oh, we can just throw him sliders all day long. You don't have to swing at sliders just because they have that game plan. Get the pitch that you hit. And he gets it, and he doesn't hit it anymore because he's just in his head. But the point is, you cannot tell me that you're watching baseball and you're going to play and watch your teammates do it the correct way, and it's working for them. And then you're going to do it another way, way less efficiently. So, and I know I don't see big Ronnie in the super. Ronnie with the red.
Ronnie, we appreciate you. Damn.
Thank you, Ronnie. Really appreciate it. Thank you for that. Really appreciate you donating it to Yankees Unloaded. And we're still a young podcast. I don't think people realize that. Like this is technically our job, but
our sophomore season.
This is our sophomore season. So, but Ronnie's been there the whole time. I know Ronnie's been a fan of Jake's with his Rams coverage. I never knew how many Rams fans there were, but there are a lot.
See, I tried to tell you this. Don't listen to the mainstream media. They have no idea what they're talking about. The Rams fans are everywhere. I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there's a lot to do in LA. But again, Ronnie, we don't want to gloss over this. Thank you for the super. We really appreciate that. And I know we have other supers as well I want to make sure we get to. So again, Ronnie, thank you. Really appreciate that.
Hey, Vinny said guys, go Rams. Let's go.
Go Rams. Yeah, Rams, what is it? Rams, 49ers?
No,
right?
not
Yankees
49ers.
fans? No, but I'm saying the 49. There are a lot of Yankees 49. There's a lot of Eagles Yankees fans, which that's me.
Yeah, oh, did you know who's a huge Eagles fan that's on the Yankees?
Who's a huge Eagles fan? Is it Cam Schlittler?
It's Aaron Boone. He went to their home game last year. He was at their home game. So funny. Everybody in the comment section knew.
My day is completely ruined.
Gary's
I feel like
a huge
I did know
Eagles
that.
fan,
That's
so that
disgusting.
obviously just killed him inside.
Yeah, I think my favorite like celebrity Eagles fan, like I know it's probably Mike Trout. Even though it's kind of weird watching him, he's like always hurt and he's just sitting front row. It's kind of shit.
My favorite celebrity Rams fan is tough because I don't know how many. Well, I don't know because I mean, I like the creator of Deadpool, Rob Liefeld, since I
you interviewed him. Yeah.
But I would probably say somebody that I haven't talked to, interviewed, whatever. I really like Brenda's song.
Wait, what about Rob Lowe? You remember when he showed up in that NFL hat? Who goes to the store and they're like, "Get me that one right there." And I would actually
like
think
the
it'd
whole
be
league.
more. Yeah, it would. I only root for players. That's probably what he'd say.
No,
I feel like
he
who
thought
in
he
their
was
right
commissioner.
mind? Who would go to Lids Hat Club and be like, so who are you a fan of? Are we going Boston, New York, LA? Like what's up? Yeah, go ahead and grab me the Major League Baseball hat way up in the top. They don't sell any of those.
Like,
why
all
are
right,
you buying
Rob
that hat?
Manfred. Like, no, that was so funny. I would say, all right, just because it's tough. I'll say this. I'm gonna go with Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine. That's what I'm gonna go with because I think that's
I'm
so
not
cool.
sure who that is. I mean,
You
you have
are
explained
sure.
it to me.
And
You've
here's
explained
why.
it to me.
Here's why. Guitar Hero 3. You ever play it?
I played Guitar Hero on Medium.
Okay, so you probably, if you played the game, you probably you did a battle with Tom Morello. His boss battle was really hard, and yeah, he's a Rams fan. He's the guitarist for Rage Against the Machine.
Okay. I do see my mom in the chat. Obviously, I don't know how many podcasters have their mother in their podcast chats, but as a mod. But my mom says I have quite a few passengers, and she works for Southwest, that wear Yankees hats who aren't fans and say they just like the hat. I go we can go to Forever 21. All right, if my wife's like, "Hey, we got to go into Q." There's Yankees hats and Dodgers hats. They pretty much those two. You can go into random stores and you'll see our hats. It kind of goes to show you, Yankees and Dodgers, the brand is just huge. People don't realize how big this brand is. It's massive.
It's funny enough. I'm sitting there, Falling in Reverse concert in New Hampshire, right in front of me, doing a Yankees hat. Like, that's just how it is. Yankees hats are everywhere. I've seen them in every state that I've ever been to. And yeah, I don't know.
My wife thinks I should just go up to him and be like, "You should tell him you got a pod." I've said this before. You should go up there and let them know that you have a podcast. I'm like, no.
You know who would?
You?
My dad.
That's okay.
My dad does
my
this
son's
all
got a
the time.
podcast.
He's really
They're
good
not
at
gonna
it.
go. They're pretty much not going to go watch your show. They're just not. Because people, first of all, if somebody came up to me and be like, "Gary, you really need to watch this show. You're going to love it." I'm not watching that show. I'm going to avoid it. That's just like how I need to find it myself. And I just think that's a big part of entertainment. You know, it's kind of like music. Like,
he doesn't
all
do
like
it to
certain music.
random people. There has to be an established, "Oh yeah, I like the Yankees, I like the Rams." And then he'll just like,
Okay.
"Oh yeah, by the way." Yeah, it has to be natural. Like, otherwise, you know what it feels like? It feels like
listen to my CD. Listen to my
how'd you
rap
know?
mix.
How'd you know? Right?
Because it's the same.
Yeah, because it's literally like you're walking around Times Square and people are like literally putting on their headphones that, like, first off, that's not sanitary. They're putting their headphones on your ears. Like, and you're just, I'm walking here, you know? And then in LA, right? Venice Beach, okay? Like Muscle Beach or whatever. You get to that point, and there's just people like just trying to get you to like listen to their mixtape. I mean, at one point, I had dudes shoving QR codes in my eyes. I'm like, what do you want me to do with that? I don't have, I can't scan it with my eyes, bro.
People watch way too much 8 Mile.
Oh my God.
If somebody pulls out a DVD, if they pull out a DVD some type of CD. Hey man, I burnt my music onto here. You should listen. Download my QR code. I promise you there's not one person in this chat. We've got over 500 people in here. Not one person in here walked into the middle of a parking lot at a Safeway, Costco, right? Sam's, and some random jabroni just popped out of a bush and was like, you should listen to my music. And now it's part of the rotation. It just doesn't work.
Don't describe bushes anymore. That freaked me out.
I know. I apologize. You have got to just find ways to grow your platform organically. You want to find not all customers are good customers. Because I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to stream. I'm going to have my aunt, uncle, and whatever. You have to be able to build an audience of people that actually support you. You can't force people to support. And that's what I feel like I'd be doing by walking up to somebody and be like, hey man, I got a Yankee show. I would never do. I wouldn't even do it at Yankee Stadium. If I saw somebody who just looked like a diehard Yankees fan, unless I'm like close to that person, I'm not saying anything. And Apex with the 2 says, hope for Yanks. Knicks beat Celtics in playoffs. So Apex, I'm assuming, is saying, yeah.
Oh yeah, you're hoping. Okay, that makes sense. I was like, so I heard Knicks beat Celtics in playoffs, and I was like, oh, hope for. I missed that part.
Yeah, I was a little confused in the little pre-read there. So, but Apex, we appreciate it, and again, we appreciate the 2. It says 2026 schedule, and I love this, love it. It says already sucks the 2026 schedule. Ton of West Coast. He calls it the West Coast galore. I can't wait for that. I know that the Yankees go play I think they go play San Diego. Mom, when was that series again? Because I will be there. I will be front and center in San Diego, probably going live from a balcony near you.
Cinema.
Yeah. You can't beat the weather in the West Coast. I know
I'll have to go.
A lot of our listeners are from the East Coast. They're East Coast, right? They love it. They wouldn't go anywhere. They wouldn't change it for the world, not even the horrible weather or sometimes mean people. But the West Coast is awesome. We've got the best, especially San Diego. I hope we should make an event in San Diego. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be really cool because I've never been and I hear it's amazing. But I've never been.
You've never been to San Diego?
Nope. the scolding. You're like,
well, living there is a little different, right? With the taxes and all that, and all the hoopla that goes on.
Hoopla.
But San Diego is beautiful. It's beautiful weather today. It'll be beautiful in January. And you actually listen to the people talk about the area, and they're like, oh, it's a bit chilly here. I'm like, oh, really? What is it? They're like, it's 63. I was like, you can go to hell.
Yeah,
cold.
I'm not looking forward to... a month from now, September 27th at this point, it's probably going to be cold. So, because I live in upstate New York, and yeah, you never know what kind of winter you're going to get. You just know you're going to get screwed on the summer part. It's already like 50 outside at night. Like, what is this? But anyway, I would definitely be down. I would love to do something like that. I think that would be dope, personally.
It'd be a fun trip to travel for if you're going to travel anywhere. And guys, by the way, if you have any ideas, we're going to be doing the Audi Club at Yankee Stadium. That one obviously makes the most sense. It's at home. But if we want to do an event, maybe spring training that's in Tampa, a lot of people can make that trip. But where would you guys want to go on the road where we maybe can do an event on the road? I think that'd be interesting. I think it'd be fun. San Diego is my pick, so
I would say San Diego or LA because, I want to go out to the West Coast.
You want to go out there and spend $400 on a hotel?
Yeah, dying.
Are you not going to stay downtown again?
No, that will never ever happen. I remember telling you what was happening. And you're like, I'm not surprised, right? I'm like, why is that? You're like, downtown LA is terrible. Well, what are you doing?
Dump.
I didn't know that though.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't know it by watching if you watch TV and the movies, which I know that's not how you made your judgment. But you would make the assumption like, oh, New York, LA, Miami, like you have the big locations and you have a certain view of what it is. It's going to be palm trees, In-N-Out Burger, and just, I don't know.
Randy's Donuts or whatever.
IG models walking on the side of the road. No, it's none of that. It's literally like Staples Center an in and out, a bunch of traffic, and like a tent on the side of the road.
Everything
That's
is
what it
closed.
is.
Like it's literally
Everything.
you got an egg slut, which man, I wish egg slut was around here. It's the best place to get a breakfast sandwich. Not that I even eat breakfast, but there's that. But yeah, egg slut's great. That's all I can remember. Oh, there's a random Apple store that used to be in a theater. Like it used to be a theater, not a theater anymore. Just an Apple store. Almost got mugged on my way there, so can't forget that. Yeah, dude, that's literally it. It's like some hotels, an Apple store, maybe a bar, and then egg slut. Yeah, the rest of it's like just graffiti, all of these boarded up windows. It's sad because you can see at one point it was a thriving area, and now it's just gone.
Yeah, it seems like San Diego we're getting a few San Diego. So I'm assuming most people have been there. I'm surprised. I'm surprised you haven't been there. And Ronnie is from California, so he'll be there for the San Diego series. So yeah, Ronnie, hopefully I see you. Hopefully I see you at that series, and maybe we'll make that our event, since obviously it'll be a series. I'll probably be at multiple games in that series, so it should be a ton of fun.
All uppercase letters, Los Angeles is
so Ronnie's not moving to LA, we take it.
Yeah. Downtown LA, I'm assuming. But
yes.
Maybe you mean all of LA, I don't know.
Yeah. And Ed W with the 10. Ed, thank you for the super. We really appreciate the 10. Ed. Thank you for supporting the show. And again, guys, just a reminder, I would assume we are south of 90 subscribers away from 10,000. It is insane to say that. Jake and I check this every morning. Every night, every morning, we sit there and refresh this. It's the dopamine that we need, is to see the channel's growth. I mean, it's crazy to say that we're going to get to 10,000, but when we do, all it takes is for you to subscribe to be part of the giveaway. We're giving away a Yankees jersey of your choice. And of course, if you're with us on Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave us a 5-star review. I have no idea what our reviews are. I know last time we checked, they had us at like a 3-star, which tells us that folks with other podcasts are in there dropping reviews, which is pretty dope. But Ed W with the 10 says the Yankees, well, it's true. The Yankees are on a crash course to play Boston in 1 versus 2 wildcard seed series. Only question is where they play the 3 games. They have to grow a pair, get the wins to get the 1 seed and figure out Boston. So Ed, I'm actually curious, because Jake, I'm curious. I want you to answer this. I'm not even going to answer. How much of a priority is playing at home in the wildcard series? Because some of our players in our rotation, right? Will Warren, Cam Schlittler. You're talking about, we have some contributors, probably more so Cam Schlittler, where you'd probably rather them be pitching in the Bronx in a big game than in a hostile environment in, say, a Boston or anywhere else. What do you think about the priority to be the top seed in the wild card? Do you think that should be the Yankees' number 1 priority right now?
No, their number 1 priority right now should be to win as many games as possible to give them the best chance, the most optimal chance to win the division. That's the focus.
That's fair.
I am not lowering my standards just because of the season, and I hope to God the Yankees aren't. The point being is there's still plenty of season left, although you're running out of time, but there is plenty of season left, and essentially you still have a shot to win the division. It's going to be tough. It's going to be difficult. But if you set your expectations low, it's like you might go lower. So, yeah, I personally, I don't think it's acceptable to have any expectations that are lower than winning the division if you're the New York Yankees, because that's not the New York Yankee way. Like, I don't care where you are right now. I don't care that the organization isn't what it used to be. I'm not changing. I'm not making these, edited, expectations based on what I've seen this year. Like, they have an opportunity. They play the Orioles a bunch of times. They play the White Sox. They have the Nationals again tomorrow. Like,
we're only 4.5 back, by the way, and
exactly.
That's not. We're 4.5 back from first place. Is it likely? No. Is it possible? Absolutely. Your schedule is dismal, and if you show any, and Jake, when I say any, I mean any sign of life in that Boston series, you actually could be cooking here with some gas.
Yeah.
You can have some momentum. Now, if you listen, I know you just said, hey, we're running out of time. Aaron Boone just 2 days ago, and we covered it, said, you think you're running out of time? He goes, no, we got plenty of time. I don't know about that. I'm not sure that you're seeing how much schedule is left. No, you are running out of time, and there has to be some urgency. So I do see in the comments people are saying, no, the goal is to just win games. And I agree with you. I'm glad you sort of kept us honest with our expectations, because I would agree with you. Our expectations should be that you can run down the Toronto Blue Jays. That's still the Blue Jays.
They're falling off. I'm telling you right now, I see the future there. Okay. It's not hard to see. This is a team that is feeling the pressure. It's why they haven't. Notice how they never pushed this to 7, 8, 9 game lead. They lost a lot of games when the Yankees lost games. That's how this is even a game. That's how it's even close, right? Like the Red Sox went through a rough stretch. The Yankees went through a brutal stretch. And even still, the Blue Jays did not take advantage of that. That's what we saw. So we've seen a team that essentially is doing as much as they can with the talent they have, and they're well managed, but at the same time, with the talent they have. This is not the most talented team, and they're losing games that they should win. To lose today against the Twins is utterly unacceptable. Like, if I'm a Blue Jays fan, I am distraught over that. I'm absolutely livid, because this is how the Yankees and Red Sox are going to creep back into this, and it's no different than watching NASCAR. You have that one car that's led the whole way, and they took the lead maybe halfway through. They've led the whole way. You get to that final lap, and the beauty of NASCAR, this is why people watch it. It gets so crazy at the end, is when it just takes that one battle there, because all of a sudden, if you catch up and you get that drift, the draft, if you will, you get that draft, you can get up to the front. You can get to the leader, and now it's a 2-horse race, but you're slowing each other down because you're battling. Maybe you're hitting each other, whatever. Now another car can swoop in, and now it's a 3-horse race, and now anything can happen, right? You could have an accident. You could have a car that takes out one of the other cars. So my point being is the Blue Jays right now are in first place. They're going around this track, and there's nobody in sight. Well, now all of a sudden you have 4.5 games back. Red Sox, Yankees. They're starting to show up in that rearview mirror. You didn't see them before. They're getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, if we beat those bad teams technically.
That to me, that team, I'm telling you, Gary, Toronto's going to fall apart. I've felt it all year. I told you I never bought into them as a World Series team. I like what they're doing. Like, it's good for them. It's good for baseball to see new teams, to see new faces. But, and let's be honest here, Toronto isn't one of those teams, and I want to give them their credit. They're not one of those organizations that's just kind of like, they're in it, but they're not fully participating. This is a team that tried to sign Ohtani. This is a team that tried to sign Soto. Nobody wants to come play for them. It's not their fault. I think it's really predicated on the fact I don't think people want to just move to Canada. Like, that's genuinely what I think. I don't think people want to. If
I was a professional baseball player, I'm not going to live in Toronto. Hey, Toronto is a beautiful city. I'm not going to live in Toronto. Just not.
No, I agree with you.
And I understand you're living, no matter where you move, you're getting the best of whichever city you go to. I think all of us understand that. But it's a lot. It's a lot to ask somebody to do it, and they've had to deal with it, and they take it head on. They go out there and offer a ton of money, and a lot of people are telling them no. But they inked Vladdy Jr., and he's been playing some good baseball. They're playing good baseball, right? Bo Bichette has finally come into his own again, and I believe he's in a contract year. So there's a lot going on in Toronto. I don't think Toronto really should even be, I shouldn't say not on our radar. Toronto, I'm not worrying about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm just not.
Have you seen what they've been doing as of late?
No, I'm not watching them.
They lost 2 of 3. I'm not either because I'm focused on Boston. I'm just assuming Boston's going to win the division, so they're priority 1. Toronto's going to fall off. They lost the 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers. That's not really a shock. They did not sweep the Cubs. They lost that game. They didn't sweep Texas. They lost 2 out of 3 to Pittsburgh. They lost a game to Miami. Almost lost 2. And then they just lost to Minnesota today. Guess who they have left? They have Milwaukee after Minnesota tomorrow.
Tough
They have
schedule.
Milwaukee, Cincinnati. Again, 2 teams fighting for spots in playoffs. Obviously, Milwaukee's the best team in the league, so they're not fighting for much. The Yankees, who are fighting for a playoff spot. Houston, who's fighting for a playoff spot. Then they have Baltimore. That's about the easiest part of their schedule. Tampa Bay, who always plays them tough. Even they're kind of a team, like they're not great, but they're a team that's going to give you their best, and you can tell they want to win. Kansas City is fighting for a playoff spot. Boston is fighting to win the division. Tampa Bay. So they're not going to hold I'm telling you, they're not holding off Boston. I don't even know if they hold off the Yankees. I actually could see them falling to third place. That's what I'm seeing.
I mean, a lot can happen. I mean, you've mentioned that, but it's from a talent standpoint. Toronto just plays tough.
They do.
That's my mentality on the Blue Jays. Is they're a team that they're not going to make mistakes. And guess who that kills? Kills the Yankees. The Yankees thrive off of teams. We make mental mistakes. They make mental mistakes back. You saw it yesterday. We have a player who's thrown 5-6 straight balls. What happens on the next pitch, which was another ball? It ended up being another 3 in a row. Player gets picked off of first base. You know who never makes that mistake? Toronto. Never.
You're right.
They would never make that type of mistake. Now, they'll lose games, but they're losing games in large part because of talent and then obviously the veteran experience. They have some, right? And George Springer and Vladdy Jr.'s somewhat been around the block at this point. But when you look up, Boston's the team you really should be worried about because the talent is over there, right? You saw the talent of Roman Anthony. That type of star talent won't just go away. It just won't. So when you're looking at the teams, who are you most afraid of? If you had to tee up a postseason series, wouldn't you be more afraid of Boston if we had to go see them and say we had to go to Fenway for game 1? I'm terrified for that series. I don't think we're going to do anything with Boston in a big game because so far they've just taken our lunch money. But Toronto, on the other hand, I felt like in a way they really exposed what we're bad at, which is that we're just not a fundamental team. And the differences between the Yankees winning those games in Toronto was the difference of fundamentals. I thought we outplayed them in a few of those games, and we just flat out wouldn't go win a game. We just wouldn't run the bases properly. We wouldn't throw the ball to the correct base. We'd throw a ball away with a guy hustling. So I just think Toronto, like you said, they're going to regress here a little bit. Now, again, when you're up 4 games at this point of the season in late August, chances are you are still going to win that division, but it's not going to surprise me at all if it happens exactly like you said, where you're looking up and Toronto suddenly like, oh, we're back a game and a half and we need this game. So would be crazy. And Alex with the 5, who's a mod here, Alex, really appreciate it. Thank you. Says, when you come down for the 49ers home game, please don't actually stay in San Francisco. Hey, Jake, you might not come back. LOL, got to stay in Santa Clara or San Jose. Yeah, because I believe the stadium is in, right?
Santa Clara.
Oh, yeah, the stadium's in Santa Clara, and the parking was a bit of an issue for me. I've been to a game over there. I think I went to a USC Stanford game. I walked more than any. I was Forrest Gump. You should have seen how far I had to walk to get to the stadium. So just do yourself a favor. If you're going to that stadium, park, Uber, do what you have to do. Do not make the walk I made.
Oh God. Yeah, I'm staying in San Jose. So
okay.
So yeah, no, trust me. I remember, and I was, because I do a roundtable show. I did it earlier today. And I remember saying, we were busting on Jesse, the 49er guy. And we were saying how San Francisco, there's literally an app that geolocates people taking shits on the street.
Oh, yeah, I've downloaded that app before. I mean, obviously, I deleted it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, they do. And then you look it up, and there's just turds everywhere. I'm like, why is there an app to tell me? Like, who's walking, and they're like, oh, so, honey, there's going to be a giant dookie off to your right here, 30 feet. It's like, I don't need that. Totally stupid. What it means is if you have an app that tells you that there's just human waste and garbage on the side of the road, just know, get on the first flight and go somewhere else. Oh, yeah, by the way, the real estate is just absolutely expensive. So it's not like you're going somewhere cheap. It's
so
pretty ridiculous.
It's like Waze reporting cops. That's so funny.
Oh, yeah.
That's hilarious. And then Ronnie, who's been a member for 11 months. Jake, Judge, and Stafford, man, the sports god hate us in 2025. Hey, I can't say anything about Judge because I don't know what's going on there. Stafford's good to go. I don't know what you're talking about. He's ready. He's ready. So I'm not worried, but appreciate you, Ronnie.
Oh, we got to get to our voicemails. Because can you play Ninja's voicemail from yesterday? I played it and I was just laughing my tail off, and nobody else heard it. So I was the only person who got a chance to enjoy it.
Thank you, Welkin. Appreciate you. Let's see. Yeah, let's play the I watched some of it at the very end. I told you, I mean, that drive home was
long night.
That was something. But I watched the ending and you said something along the lines of, no, your mom said it. You're the beauty. No. What was it? I'm the brains.
You're the brains and I'm the beauty is what she said.
That is so funny.
And it's so annoying too, because can you tell the audience, we sat there, you and I, now there's no way to know if it's actually playing or not, but we actually sat there and did the troubleshooting to make sure that it was going to work. Yeah, it didn't work.
Can you hear this?
I am so pissed right now. I'm leaving the stadium right now, literally. We can't even win without embarrassing ourselves. Light him up later. My mom is now calling him, and Gary Delos meatball / walks absolutely destroyed it. I mean, sure, we got 10 runs, but those were stat padded. So we could have lost if it was like a good team, to be honest. So it doesn't even matter. And we can't, the point is that we can never have just a nice, calm win. There always has to be something. Like in this case, it was the grand slam, which I called right before it happened, by the way. I am disturbed. I'm disgusted. Sure, we won, but it doesn't feel like a win. It feels like Mickey Mouse handed it to us as a birthday gift or whatever, even though we're still a bad team. Fire Baboon.
Yeah! That is Ninja Hot Dog. And now, that was on Monday, of course. And this is also on Monday.
Hey, this is Guy. How you doing tonight? I don't care if they go 6-1, because they're only going to follow the next several series with a 2-10 when we face the good teams. So all this rah-rah joy stuff is just going to diminish and go away. If we get bounced in the wild card, we have to make a big change. Hal's going to have to grow a pair and fire everyone. However, I think Cashman's the most important one to get rid of because this is his team. And Boone, although he makes managerial mistakes, he's just a puppet. And so I really think it's got to totally be wiped out, but Cash is the most important one. He's got to go, even though him and Hal are friends. We need winners, people that will respect their manager and play hard. Guys like Bregman, Caballero, Rosario, Rice, Belly, maybe Trent, Judge. We need winners. And that's about all I got to say. All right. Good night.
Yeah, so essentially Boone is a ventriloquist at this point.
Yeah, I love what Guy said because like a Bregman, right? If you built your team around Bregman, Bellinger, Caballero, Rosario type of guys, you don't have this launch angle issue that you currently have right now. You don't have people saying home run or strikeout. We've been saying home run or strikeout since before they traded for god-awful trade, I might mention, for Joey Gallo.
Do you think, by the way, if they did have a roster of those players, right, like Caballero, Rosario, they have all those players, I've heard this a lot. They said that guy may be a 290 batting average dude who's contact first, but by the time next year comes around, we're going to transform him into a different version of that player. So do you think if they did have more Bellinger style players, they would let him play that style? Me personally, I think they would, because Cody Bellinger hasn't played any different.
Well, I also think if you're Cody Bellinger and you're paying me $25-30 million, shut the fuck up and let me do my thing. I know what I'm doing.
That is true. So we got to pay everyone $25 million so they can refuse our coaching.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's like, come on, I'm Cody Bellinger. Like,
I'm in a contract year. I'm rich.
Yeah, you don't need to tell me anything. But yeah, that's just currently how I feel. All right, Ninja. This is Tuesday at 11 p.m.
Happy stat padding. Yankees win. They did pretty good today. And by Yankees, I mean Stanton, who is still doing great. It doesn't matter what team Stanton is playing, really. He will always find a way. I didn't like him a couple months ago, but now I'm back on the Stanton train. I'm really happy for him. And they need to be playing him every day. They were talking, I guess, about whether or not he should sit. When you have a guy who since July is batting like a 1.2 OPS, you don't sit him at all. And I think personally it would be better to sit Judge, who struck out like twice today. I think they should sit him, but of course they're not going to. I think it would be nice to give him a little rest day. He seems to have not been the same guy. Maybe not playing for a day will let him recharge, but no. Apparently, good players sit and cold players don't. Fire Baboon.
Yeah! Let's go.
So I have a question. So I see, first of all, great. That was a great chat. So we really appreciate that. I want to put up Welkin up on the screen because I think this actually really moves it forward, because I like when we try and figure out ways to help.
Yes.
Now, Welkin brings up this point. So thank you, obviously, for getting involved in our live chat. I am also paying attention to that as well. It says Judge needs to do what's best for the team. Stanton must play. Now, obviously, Aaron Boone and the analytics department, they're making the decision that regardless of how Judge is playing, we're going to play him. Regardless of how Stanton's playing, good or bad or elite, best we've ever seen him play as a Yankee, we're going to sit him if it essentially Judge is going to play over Stanton. And we're all sort of in agreement. Not all of us. I'm not going to speak for the whole room. But I'd say the majority of us feel like Stanton should be in there all means necessary. Now, what about Aaron Judge? What about being the captain? Maybe you walk into Aaron Boone's office and say, hey, if he can't be in right field today and he technically needs a physical day off from the field, you can sit me down and I'll be ready tomorrow. You don't have to tell us that that's what's happening. You don't have to go public with that. But maybe being the captain here is you can take a step back and let a hot, with all due, please do not clip this, a hot Giancarlo Stanton, let him play. Maybe that's part of being a captain, is realizing that somebody else, right, somebody else is just doing the job better at the moment. And you should take a step back and let someone else take a step forward.
Smooth,
I think that's part of it.
That was really well done, Gary. You should be a public speaker.
Yeah, thank you. So hot. He's so hot right now.
So hot, man. All right.
But Welkin, we really appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we're in the 2025 era of the pause, and you can't say anything.
Oh my God, I know. And plus, like with AI, it's like you're done. Real quick before we get to the next super chat, shout out to Louis Seal. It was a little bit of a struggle with the walks, but once again, delivering only one run given up. ERA is below 4. And I'm going to say it. Shout out to Fernando Cruz, because that dude made his return, long-awaited return, and he made the weirdest face I think I've ever seen. Did you see that?
Of course. How could I not?
I mean, what on earth?
It was... It's good to see the fire.
Yes.
Now, if we had the fire all year, I probably would have been like, yo, what is wrong with you? But given how the Yankees have played, which has been pretty uninspiring, not a ton of fight, not a ton of dog, to see somebody that cares, and we know his story, right? He's been banged up. He wants to get back on the field, and he's showing the type of pitcher he can be for the Yankees. He is the best strikeout rate in the league. And part of what's derailed his season is that he can't stay on the field. So nobody was happier to be out on the field today than Fernando Cruz. So that was pretty cool to see. Right. Yeah. So it was, what did you, I know you talked about Duvall with me. Duvall looked a lot better today. I know the broadcast was like, oh, you don't see 101 mile-an-hour cutters every day. He looked better.
He did.
Is this a player, again, we said it's too soon to just draw a conclusion on him. He just got here. I still am on that side. I know it's easier to say after today. Do we still have confidence that this can work? I know you mentioned to me that they were going to put him in at least a little higher of leverage and not the fifth inning or the sixth. It feels like garbage time. Yeah. What do you think about this player now?
I think this player is a case-by-case basis where we need to keep seeing it. I can't just make a blanket statement. You can make a blanket statement when they first acquire him, but now that stock has gone down. So I need to see it perform a little bit better. But today was a really good step in the right direction. Comes in the eighth inning, misses bats. You see the cutter. You see how lively he was today. 101.2 fastest pitch today. Fastest pitch of the entire year for a Yankee pitcher. 99.6, 99.5. I mean, just consistently killing the gun. He also missed 4 bats today. Not as many as Fernando Cruz, because that dude is just insane. But yeah, I really liked what I saw from Duvall, and I just want to see him build off this, because the thing about him is that he's got maybe the best stuff in the entire bullpen by far. But he still has, and this is actually how I want you to think about this. He still has the control issues that somebody like a Carlos LaGrange is dealing with in the minors. So he has control issues that of a AAA, really talented, stuff-driven pitcher. And I just feel like it's worked out, and it can, because you're only pitching 1 inning. And Gary, we've talked about this. If you don't have control, you're not going to start in the league. You're not going to be a starting pitcher, but they'll throw you in the bullpen. They'll try and figure it out. And this is the biggest thing, I think, this could be one of the most important projects of Matt Blake's entire career. Can he figure out Camilo Duvall's location? Can he figure out his control? Because if he can get his control down, he's going to be unstoppable. He's going to be unhittable. He's got the velo, but he's also got the craft stuff as well.
You can make the argument that we actually have quite a few pitchers on this boat, by the way. Luis Gil, you watched him today.
Yeah.
His big problem is the walks. And there were some that they were chasing ball 4, right? It could have been worse. So obviously Donald, I believe this is a local guy, Arizona, because he knew the Arizona weather. It's an absolute nightmare. I don't know if you heard it on my mic. It is a nightmare out there. Insane. But I wanted to put this up on the screen because I saw somebody mentioning about Paulie in the broadcast talking about it. So here you go. Itchy Nuts, really appreciate it. Says, anyone hear Paul O'Neill today talking about Volpe maybe opening his stance to help? Now, Jake, we've sort of talked about the idea, and he would never do it. But Paul O'Neill has been ripping, and I don't even want to use the word rip because then people get defensive. He's been critiquing Anthony Volpe's stance, his swing, his hip flying open.
Every time.
It's not a recipe for success. There's no great hitter in the history of the game that's hips fly open earlier than they're supposed to. There's a reason why the majority of golfers, the majority of baseball players, when you freeze their swing at a certain point, they, for the most part, look pretty similar. Anthony Volpe looks like he's hitting a piñata. It's not baseball. So you need to be in a strong position, a balanced position, and there's no player that I've watched in the past 10 years of baseball at the big league level that's off balance more than Anthony Volpe is. So what to do about it? Yes, I heard it on the broadcast. Maybe open up your stance. Obviously staying closed a little bit longer and not lunging out at the plate. Much easier said than done, of course. Otherwise, we'd be doing it and not podcasting. But I guess the point is that you text me earlier, Jake, and said, how is it that our hitting coach can watch and listen every single day to the broadcast, complain about a mechanical issue, and do nothing to solve it for multiple years? What are you taking away from this? Because I know I wanted to give you the floor on that take.
Yeah, I just think Paul O'Neill is a genius. He's quick-witted. He understands the game, but he's also quick to not just explain something. He can explain it in a very articulate manner, but it also is able to be digested by anybody. And I think the biggest thing for me is when I'm going to go back a ways with the Yes Network. Back when I was younger, and this is the state of the Yankees right now. When I was younger, I remember Jim Cott, and I felt like I was learning the game through Jim Cott. I thought he was unfreaking believable with how he would explain pitching, and I wanted to be a pitcher, so I was like listening to every word he said. And when I get Jim Cott and I get Michael Kay, I'm like, match made in heaven, right? So
Yep.
Jim Cott is explaining everything. And what he's doing is he's explaining the game because the guys that are pitching are doing it the right way. It was never a critique. No. He was trying to teach you at home, the viewer, why this is happening. And this is textbook. Do you see where I'm going with this? Paul O'Neill, and this is the state of the Yankees, Paul O'Neill is having to use the color commentary to quite literally not just teach you, the viewer at home, how to hit. He's trying to teach Volpe. He's trying to teach the hitter, the hitting coach, right? And that is a far cry from what traditional color commentary is, but also what color commentary was back when the Yankees were really good and they were winning championships and all of that, right? My biggest thing is this. When you have a color commentator who's every single time there's a player that's struggling, and he's not just struggling, he just looks defeated. It's awful. But when you have this player, this former player, who, by the way, was incredible at the plate, great on base percentage, walked, could hit 330. So it's not just like some Joe Schmo. Like, Paul O'Neill knows what he's talking about when it comes to hitting.
Right. Like, if we were critiquing him, we know we're not literally going to break down, okay, he needs to do this, he needs to go from here. We're not going to do it because we know if it was that simple, then we would do it. But I wonder if we could just be a fly on the wall with the hitting coach's conversation with Anthony Volpe. What do they talk about?
I would love to know, truthfully, because I honestly, I don't get it. How every single broadcast Paul O'Neill can explain, and it's just like, it's one thing like when Michael Kay is like telling you about, I always bring this up, but he's telling you about Joe Odell, right? He's telling, he hasn't quite lived up to expectations, and we always have a chuckle about that, but he's telling you what is happening, okay? Paul O'Neill is trying to color in between the lines. That's his job as a color commentator. But he's gotten to the point where he's clearly so fed up, as we all are, of the way Anthony Volpe's hitting that he has to explain why he's fed up. He has to explain, hey, maybe he should be doing this. And to me, somebody in the Yankees organization who can get Yes Network, right? They can pull this up tomorrow in a meeting, should be getting this in front of James Rowson.
He also does it in a positive way. He does it for other players.
Yeah.
The most notable player he does it for is Ben Rice. Ben Rice, you've sort of talked about, okay, the Yankees, they've developed just lemons, just total garbage. Mm-hmm. Then Ben Rice, in an emergency, right? Anthony Rizzo gets hurt. They said, oh, what are we going to do? Well, I guess Ben Rice has been performing well. We're going to have to call him up. He's going to have the Band-Aid for us. He gets here, right? He's playing well right off the rip. It's a 3 home run game. But as we go into the offseason and we go into spring training, they've been raving about his swing path, right? You saw Reggie Jackson. I don't know if you heard it, but Reggie Jackson, I guess, was just losing his mind because he's like, wow, the contact that he makes and the type of swings and passes that he makes to the ball during batting practice is impressive. He doesn't say that about anyone else. And so what it goes to show you is that when you're listening to what they're saying in the broadcast booth, there's a reason that certain guys hit and other guys don't. And a lot of it isn't talent. You know, I've long been saying this. I think Anthony Volpe should be an all-star caliber baseball player. I believe that. Yeah. But his mechanics have gone so far in the left field. You cannot be a good baseball player with bad mechanics. It doesn't exist. If you told Giancarlo Stanton, hey, you've got to remember, he's changed his stance a million times. He's closed. The next moment, we're seeing his back to the pitcher. He's doing all this so he can get himself in the right position to hit. Now, if you told Giancarlo, before the pitch, you need to drop your hands and you need to swing very similar, your hip needs to be wide open at contact, what do you think would happen to his production? He wouldn't be able to hit. That's the difference between the great players and the bad, is who can repeat their mechanics more often than the next guy. And so that's what I think the huge issue right now is with Anthony Volpe. They continue to just pretend that he's the confident player. He just can't be shaken. That's a lie. Don't tell me you're just getting ripped. You're getting booed at Yankee Stadium. You're the local kid and it doesn't faze you. You're still confident. Stop that lie now. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop it. I don't expect you to go post game and be like, yeah, Anthony Volpe's depressed about his performance. I don't need that. But to get up here and just a bold-faced lie and tell me, no, Anthony Volpe feels the same way he did at spring training as we went into Tampa this year, that's a lie. I don't know who you guys think we are that we would buy that.
My dad brought this up like early in the season. He said his swing is identical, and I can't unsee it.
And you've been texting me that quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's the type of approach you get. And his A swing, believe it or not, isn't even a home run. That's the best part about his approach. And there are other players that can learn a lot from it. And you mentioned Giancarlo Stanton, same deal. His A swing is a ball 120 to the wall. That's his A swing. And so that's why we get so much, we actually get some repetitiveness with what we see. There's actually an expectation to hit good pitching, bad, everything in between. So, yeah, we're not obviously going to pick on Volpe the whole show, but we want what's best for the team. And I'll tell you right now, if he's going to play every day, you guys need to fix his mechanics. Those mechanics suck. They're horrible. And it's not just his responsibility. It's also our hitting coach.
How much is that on Rowson? I was going to bring that up because so a little background on him. He didn't just come out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. He's obviously been a hitting coach. He was with the Tigers. He was with the Marlins. He was with the Twins. But he actually served at the Yankees minor league hitting coordinator for 6 seasons before joining the Cubs. So he's been in the organization and they clearly like him. My thing is, I don't know how much is on him. I don't know how much is on the analytics. I will say this. The launch angle, that's analytics. That's the MIT dudes. However, the mechanics, because you could say launch angle and mechanics go hand in hand. I agree and disagree. I think it's the approach before the swing that I can't stand the most about Volpe. He drops his hands. Like I don't like his. I mean I don't like watching him hit at all. But Paul O'Neill,
is he responsible for Ben Rice? Because that's the interesting part. There's certain players that are giving us outlier mechanics. Like Ben Rice is the opposite of
that's
Anthony
a good
Volpe.
point.
So it's like, who is responsible for what?
But
that's
he was always
question.
hitting the ball hard, even in the minors. And he added 10 pounds of muscle, so that does something. It's interesting, Gary. You definitely bring up a fair point. I mean, I'm not a big Rowson guy, but maybe it's not all his fault. I mean, honestly, it's very easy to see what's happening. Anthony Volpe is the issue. Like,
it is your fault as a hitting coach.
Yeah.
If this is happening and your color commentator, he's literally telling the casual fan, you realize the majority of fans aren't us. right? The majority of fans aren't our audience that wants to hear the details and tell me why something's happening. The majority of fans turn on the Yankees and they're like, yeah, I'm a diehard fan. I've been watching a while and I want to see them score more runs than the other team, and then turn it off. Okay, great. They're not trying to figure out, okay, why is Ben Rice, why is he so much better and staying consistent?
I mean, Guy might be on to something.
So Rice told them all to back off. See, that is something we can presume to be true based on his personality, and you hear it post-game. He'll go off, right, off the railing, if you will, and say what needs to be said. Now, is his personality more dominant where I can stray from the pack of what they're teaching? Maybe. But I'm not going to just say that that's what's happening. Anthony Volpe, on the other hand, it kind of just seems like, I don't know, coach's son mentality where my dad's telling me to do this and my dad says it's the best way to do it. You're not changing anything. Anthony Volpe's swing today looks exactly the way it looked 2 years ago, and that's not a good thing. We need an adjustment.
Yeah, and then this one is great. Does anyone think they're asking Volpe to make adjustment and he's too arrogant and full of himself to do so? And people will be like, well, no, like that, but like there's no way for us to know. We don't know who Volpe is, you know, in the clubhouse, whatever. We know he's well liked by his teammates. We know he's well liked by Boone. But yeah, we don't know. I mean, Ralston could be trying to get him to make an adjustment, and he just, every time he goes up there, he doesn't make it. Or it's just in his head, like he's just ingrained in doing this. And really, Gary, that's what really separates. Because if you have a league, right, where it's literally all of the best in the world at what they do, well, what separates the best guy and the worst guy in that said league? A lot of the time, it's pure talent, right? Athleticism. But it's also their ability to repeat mechanics. That's really what it is. And so that's a big thing like we were looking at when we were doing our kind of review on the 2025 draft class this year for the Yankees. We wanted, like with pitchers, do they have repeatable mechanics? If a guy has a different arm angle every single time he throws, it's like now you're less likely to get to where you need to go.
Right. There was one of the arms that we were critiquing, and we didn't watch him. I didn't watch him. But the scouting report was, he's a little inconsistent with his arm angle. And what do you hear about Luis Gil? You heard it in the broadcast today. Yeah, his stride leg, it's inconsistent in what he's doing. So that's the reason his fastball mechanics aren't. Consistent mechanics, it creates consistent output. And the best players in the world look the same. They do. You'll watch Albert Pujols taking it at bat in 2002, and then you'll fast forward to 2007, and it looks identical. He gets to the exact same spot. Now, obviously, he's much more talented, but he's also working with better mechanics, and that's something that's important. And our young players, it seems like certain players get the memo and understand it, and we're sort of like trying to figure out why are they getting the message or maybe veering away from our message. But what Volpe's doing, he's going to have to do something different than what he's doing currently. But he's choosing to do it the same way. I know he's trying to fix it. I'm sure he's not just trying to get booed at a Yankee Stadium. But you got to get real that when the broadcast can point out how bad your mechanics are, that needs to change. I think that has to be said. But I want to tee up tomorrow's game because you mentioned it's an early game.
Voicemails still.
Oh, we do?
Yeah. We hadn't... Ninja Hot Dog obviously had one today, but then
because that's right. Can we? Yeah, let's go ahead and drop those, and then we'll get to Freed and Cavalli.
What is with the Matt Damon comment? That's hilarious.
I saw Good Will Hunting for the first time about 5 days ago. Great movie.
Oh, did you like it?
Oh, it was great.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
all right,
great movie. Go.
So we got Ed W.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, Ed W. here. Wanted to sort of think about an issue with this Volpe conversation. I look at it a little bit differently. I look at it as an issue of roster construction. You know, the 1986 Mets won the World Series with Rafael Santana and his 539 OPS over 139 games. The difference between the two teams is that their rosters weren't constructed. Their roster was constructed to absorb that type of a player. Volpe isn't surrounded by Keith Hernandez, Gary Carter, Len Dykstra, and other players who perform in the clutch the way that Volpe is expected to perform in the clutch. So it's not so much, in my mind, that Volpe is underperforming, but they have a team of people not hitting clutch who aren't functioning the way they need to around the player performing like Volpe. Just my 2 cents and a different way to think about the issue. Thanks, guys, for a great show.
Appreciate that, Ed. Yeah, it's an interesting way to look at it. I think the problem is you put him 8th, you put him 9th, you put him 7th. He's always coming up with the bases loaded, 2 guys on. So in a sense, guys are doing their job getting on base, and you're relying on Volpe now with an out or 2 outs, and it's like you don't want to rely on him. You don't want to, so the roster construction is a fair comment because right now I feel like there are 3 auto outs in the lineup, in the go-to lineup that they have. Austin Wells has retained being the primary catcher. That's what's happening. We're seeing it, even though he's not hitting well. Austin Wells, Anthony Volpe, and Ryan McMahon. I would argue I'd rather watch Anthony Volpe than watch Ryan McMahon right now. I cannot stand watching Ryan McMahon because at least with Volpe, like, there's something there. Like, I don't think he's a great player at all, but he can hit a home run occasionally, right?
Yep.
Ryan McMahon, if he doesn't walk, he's striking out. I cannot stand watching him at the plate. Austin Wells can at least hit a home run. Austin Wells can do something. He can hit it in the gap, right? But the point being is you can't have only 6 of your 9 hitters be guys that you trust. And also, let's be honest here, when it comes to Jazz Chisholm, we saw it today with the bases loaded. Like, Jazz just had one of the coolest images ever with that bat flip. You saw that. That was sick. And it's like people now are like, oh, he had 2 home runs and another home run. Is he back? But here's the thing. I'd love for June Jazz to show up. June Jazz is going to get paid $150 million. That's an elite player. Those numbers are on the level that in June of a Ketel Marte, a guy who I actually believe he's going to get replaced for currently. Now, my issue, Gary, and kind of, coinciding with what Ed is saying, and it's really what my dad was saying and what we've just kind of come to realize is that the roster construction actually doesn't have anything to do with guys that hit home runs, guys hit for average, any of that. They don't have a bunch of high leverage bats. And I learned this when I was doing my research to make the argument to go out and get Nathaniel Lau. I realized they don't have a lot of, high leverage bats. They just don't. And that's the thing, is that like Stanton, Bellinger, those are high leverage bats. Rice is becoming that, but also they are refusing to let Rice play against lefties. He should have played today. He should have. But the point being, Gary, is that really when people hear roster construction, they just take stats at face value. But I think
they do.
But I think the clutch hitting, it's not an eye test thing, which I think a lot of people fall for, because they'll see one player come through and they'll be like, I remember he comes through every time I watch. Yeah, but in reality, he doesn't. You just happen to watch twice, and then those moments stick out in your head more than other moments. And now you think he's clutch when he's actually not. So I think that's the big thing is, roster construction, it can mean one thing for some people, but I think really simply put, you need high leverage bats. You need guys to be, because think about this. Obviously, you need to get on base even in low leverage situations to create a high leverage situation for your teammates. But when you look at this team, they have no issue getting guys in scoring position. They don't. They have no issue doing it. It happens every game.
To prove it, Anthony Volpe's got 65 ribbies on the year. So to prove it, Anthony Volpe gets a hit never. 20% of his at-bats end in a hit that are in play, that aren't walks, where he's hit by a pitch. 20%. That's very low. Now, Anthony Volpe, and I like the premise that you can't just judge players all in a vacuum. That honestly is a mature way to look at a roster. Is that, yeah, you may lead off for a team, but you scored 70 runs this year. It may be because the 2-hitter and the 3-hitter didn't do their jobs this year. It may be because the 3-hitter was out for half the year. There's context to why you end up being considered a success. Johnny Damon Jeter, what does Derek Jeter look like if the Yankees didn't have a ton of talent around him? What does he look like? Is he still Derek Jeter? No. Nope. He's not. And part of greatness is having other great players around you. It's not just baseball. It's every other sport. Shohei Ohtani would have just stayed in Anaheim if it was as simple as in a vacuum. Oh, I can just win in a vacuum. I can put up these numbers and we'll go where we need to go. No. He went to the Dodgers, took $700 million, and wanted to play next to Mookie Betts, wanted to play next to Freddie Freeman, wanted to play next to all of this talent so that you can show the best parts of you. And then other parts of you that may be considered a flaw, these other players will help hide it. Well, Guy brings up a great point. Anthony Volpe is around a bunch of guys who want to slug in low leverage. Isn't that exactly what our lineup is? Low leverage slugging.
Yeah.
What does Anthony Volpe do well? Anthony Volpe doesn't get on base at an exceptional clip. His on base is under 300. It's terrible. His batting average, lowest in Major League Baseball, right? So his ability to get a hit is the lowest amongst any player. So you can go throw him on the Dodgers or you can throw him on any other team. You can throw him in San Diego. And, maybe you can fix one or two things here and there. And certainly playing with the Dodgers, who have what you'd like to call, Jake, they have a higher leverage lineup, right? Padres, same deal.
Absolutely.
They're going to hit better in bigger games. Now, the Yankees won't do that. Will it help Volpe? Sure. But will it turn Volpe from what we're seeing now into a player that would suffice? No. Anthony Volpe was a top prospect who turned into a role player that we would accept if he could walk into being a role player. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. So I like the premise that we're trying to slow it down and at least deflect some type of blame into another direction other than on one individual. And I think that's fair. But when you peel it back, Anthony Volpe's acceptable in no one's lineup. He's, in any situation, a bad baseball player, and I hope it changes.
Yeah. And by the way, you look at these runners in scoring position numbers this year. Like Stanton has a 1,200 OPS. He's hitting 340. And the thing that stands out to me is in that he has 13 walks and 16 hits. So he's not just trying to swing for the fences. He's finding a way to get on base, right? That's why his on-base percentage is 483. Well, when you look at Jazz Chisholm, because I think runners in scoring position numbers really do tell a story. And when you look at Jazz Chisholm, right, he has 21 hits. He has 14 walks. He has a 298 on-base percentage, okay? So that's not great. And he has an OPS below 700. Then you look at Anthony Volpe. Volpe, with runners in scoring position, has 26 hits and 14 walks. You want the walks typically to be around the hits, I would say.
Yeah.
He's hitting 194 and has a 269 on base. So basically, he's not doing anything with runners in scoring position. He's just not.
He's not a table setter. He's not a guy to get on base to tee somebody else up. He also doesn't excel when somebody else has teed him up. So what other situation do we need to put him in?
Austin Wells, by the way, this is wild. 21 hits, 7 walks. So, you say it, but it's actually, it's not just the eye test, right? It's actually in the stats. His splits, he has a 458 slugging percentage. Because 21 hits, 5 of those are home runs. Only 7 walks. He struck out 24 times. And he has a 257 on base percentage with runners in scoring position, a 219 batting average. So what do we take away from those numbers, right? We take away from the fact that Giancarlo Stanton, the one guy I didn't bring up, Giancarlo Stanton is just Giancarlo Stanton with guys on base, without guys on base, right? Why? Because in 2025, his approach is the right approach. He doesn't have to change anything. Now, Cody Bellinger with runners in scoring position, sitting 321 with a 377 on base and a 918 OPS. So then you have, Austin Wells, like I mentioned, and, he has a 257 on base. So the guys I just told you about, Bellinger can hit the long ball, but what we're seeing with runners in scoring position is that Bellinger really slugs. He gets the job done. He's not just settling for the hit. He's actually, believe it or not, Gary, this is wild. He has 35 hits with runners in scoring position. 35. He has only 14 walks and 13 strikeouts. So what are we taking from this? Bellinger knows, to your point that you've said many times, and this is why Arias is looked in the way he is, I want the base hit. I want the RBIs. A walk doesn't do that. I'll take the walk if it's there. But I'm going to try, and I'm losing my voice here, I'm going to try to slug here and not try for the home run, but I'm going to try and knock in 2 on this play.
Yeah,
now,
so they don't need anything teed up.
Yeah.
Anthony Volpe could have led off. He would struggle. Leading off innings, he struggles. Guy on second and third base, if Anthony Volpe came up tomorrow in an at-bat with no one out, what's your expectations? Do you expect hard contact to the outfield to get the job done, even in a sac fly scenario? No, you don't. You expect the 100% of his damage to be done with a man on first and second base in a 6-2 game that we're already winning against God knows who, a struggling whoever, right? A struggling team. He's going to hit a ball opposite field against a team's low leverage reliever. He's going to hit a 3-run home run, and they're going to say, oh, look at that. Anthony Volpe just hit in RBIs 61, 62, and 63. A lot better than you guys expected. No, it is not. So that's really where we are. It's a low leverage at bat. And when it's high leverage defensively, which is what I care about, who are you in high leverage defense? He's not good. He's not. Can't rely on his arm. Not very athletic. He's not making any crazy plays out there. So Volpe is just not a good baseball player. I just think that at some point or another, the Yankees have to be honest. When you get to this offseason, we're going to root for him. We're going to root for him for success. When we get there to this winter, the Yankees have to find a way to get an everyday shortstop out there. Just have to. Whether or not it's going to be Caballero, whether or not George Lombard Jr., and we don't think he's near ready yet. The bat's not ready. You need to wait until he's ready offensively, then you bring him here. Or you go with somebody outside the organization. Either way, this is not it. So, and also, let's get to our other voicemail. Did you say we have one more?
Yeah, we have one more from Guy.
Perfect. Yeah, let's go ahead and play that, and then we'll tee up tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Hey, this is Guy. How's it going? Called last night, but I guess apparently I heard Jake say it didn't get saved or something. Anyway, hope this goes through. I just want to talk about Wells and Volpe first real quick. I still think Wells has something in him that he could turn around. I think they'll be giving him at least another year. I mean, Volpe has 1,500 plus at bats. His streak now is 8 for 68. I mean, he just looks awful. But you know what? They'll probably keep him around for one more year. It's because, he's cheap. I want to say that about something else about Stanton. Nobody seems to talk about or mention that he quieted his feet. And that's what turned it around. That season he came and said that he was going to come out with a changed stance, and we were all kind of rolling our eyes because he didn't do well in 2022, and 2023 was abysmal. It's like a 191 average, something like that. But yeah, it's made a huge difference, and that's all I wanted to say. I hope I didn't go too long. All right.
Appreciate that. Yeah, so that actually makes a lot of sense because when you listen to the broadcast today, Jake, Paulie was mentioning, when that back foot's on the ground, that ball's lasered.
Oh,
lasered. Yeah. When he's on the ground, you're in trouble. And we've seen it, right? The George Washington joke, he's going to look like he's trying to cut down. He doesn't look good when he swings and misses. But when he's on balance, and he's been on balance for multiple months in a row now, he's our best bat. And it's just amazing how, just so happens, Jake, the hottest hitter on the Yankees has the most sound mechanics today. Isn't that weird how that always just seems to work itself out?
And the guy who is considered to have mechanics that you would never teach a little leaguer to swing like how he swings.
Oh.
Isn't that funny? He is the most untextbook player I think I've ever seen. He's got to swing.
If I ever have a son, I'm gonna be like, well, if you're going to be 6'6", 240 of pure muscle, I'll let you swing like that.
Yeah.
But nobody should teach what Giancarlo's doing. But if you actually peel back the mechanics, being balanced at the plate, it's the most important thing. If you're off balance, unless you're going to be Vladimir Guerrero Sr., there's a reason that watching Ichiro and Vladdy Sr. was an anomaly, right? There's a reason you don't turn on the game and see other players consistently hitting the way they hit, swinging at pitches that they swing at, being with the type of balance that they have and having success. You don't get that.
Sorry, Gary.
My mom says Gary's son won't be 6'6". Yeah, my wife's been trying to convince me this whole time, ever since she's met me, that I'm 5'9". Went to the doctor. 5'9" and 5/8. That's 5'10" right there.
Yeah, so you're taller than me. I'm 5'8". So
yeah,
I mean, I knew that. I met you.
Yep.
Well, at least I'm taller than Antonella, so there's that.
This is true. So my wife was wrong. And Ness with the 5 says, why can't we develop good young players? And we do. Ben Rice has been developed. So there it is, right? Cam Schlittler. We're developing arms. But why don't we have more stars? I mean, I don't really have an answer for you other than they just, right? Let's see what George Lombard Jr. does. Let's see what Spencer Jones does. Let's see.
I would say this, okay? With the new, and we were talking about this off air, and I actually do feel like, I feel really good about the direction of Yankees baseball in terms of prospects, because they could have traded away a Ben Rice. They could have traded away a Cam Schlittler. I think they made the right decision. I think this new age of Yankee prospect baseball, I have never seen this many prospects actually succeeding in the minors. I feel like back in the day, it was, this is a top prospect, and his ERA is 5. Like, that was the norm. It
was like Will Warren, which you saw with Will Warren. They're telling you to not pay attention to the numbers because we see something different. Exactly. But now the Yankees are finally performing. That's a good thing. But also, I wanted to get to the rest of the super. Says all of our young talent trade in the past 2 years has blossomed elsewhere. I wouldn't really say that. I wouldn't.
It's starting to look better than it did in the past. I think they're a better farm than they have been in the past. I think that's kind of what Ness is getting at. Like, for instance, find me a player from the Montas trade that you're like, damn, he just ended up being really good.
Yeah, but we also kind of overdo it with what people are doing as far as blossoming. Like, for example, there were people who are telling us that Agustin Ramirez is blossoming in Miami. I'm like, no, what the hell, he's not.
No.
Agustin Ramirez hit a couple home runs, and he was a home run hitter, and that's a good thing. But he was Gary Sanchez. He was, statistically, we read it on the show, the worst catcher in Major League Baseball. So you think if he played for the Yankees, we wouldn't be complaining about the worst catcher in the league being back there, not being able to block or throw? Of course we would. Of course. So it's a little overdone. Every team in baseball can look at prospects that they traded away that are performing elsewhere. That just comes with the territory. And if you don't have that, that means you're not making any trades. You're not doing anything. So, but also, Jason Dominguez, we have some stinkers here. Jason Dominguez has just been okay. Not up to expectations yet. Not yet. The defense is horrible. Volpe stinks, right? Now, the Yankees have to hit on Spencer Jones. Have to. It's a must. If he shows up and doesn't perform at all, and it's just, he's a decent glove, but he strikes out 250 times, and he hit 26 homers, 22 homers, then you're going to be able to draw this conclusion. But Ness, we really appreciate the 5. William says Dominguez is a young bum.
Oh my God.
Never change. But Ness, thank you for the 5, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, we do appreciate it. I think the big thing is, you know, we care about the draft enough to do videos on it and whatnot, and obviously because we cover the Yankees. But let's be honest here. Anthony Volpe was a first-round pick, right? Austin Wells was the first-round pick. Cam Schlittler was a 7th. Will Warren was an 8th, and Ben Rice was an 11th round. So Ben Rice, let's put it into this perspective, Gary. The way we do it is we do the top 10 rounds. Ben Rice wouldn't even make our video. He wouldn't have made our video.
Nope.
That's how under the radar he was out of Dartmouth. So
you mentioned earlier, Cam Schlittler threw 91 when they drafted him. We wouldn't have made a video about him. And you know why we wouldn't have? No one did. No one thought Cam Schlittler was going to be some...
He would have made our video, but he would have been one of those guys that we say like a few blurbs about. Not like Pico Cone, where we had a whole segment on him, you know?
Yeah, he throws 91 miles an hour. What do I look like telling you guys he's going to be at the top of a rotation? That's just a lie. But when you add 10 miles an hour to your four-seam fastball, and you've got one of the better curveballs that we've seen, yeah, it changes things. So the Yankees have some stinker of prospects, or some prospects that we just haven't seen enough of. Jason Dominguez, I think, is one of those players who could be good down the road, but it also could go the opposite way. But then Ben Rice is a hit. It's working. What's going on with Ben Rice is working. Austin Wells is going the opposite direction. It's not working. So it seems like more of what the Yankees are doing in a good way is happening on the mound than on the field. And that's a valid critique that people can make. But I guess we're going to have to see. We're going to really see the new age prospect next year when Spencer Jones shows up. Because if Spencer Jones is performing, it's going to change how a lot of us view their prospects. And you can't change how you view them until they start doing it. So wanted to make sure that was at least pointed out. But Jake, for tomorrow, we've got our ace, technically. People got mad at me at Twitter for calling Max Fried our ace. And I was covering who he was the majority of the year.
Who the hell would be the ace right now?
Oh, people were telling me, they're like, oh, no, Cam Schlittler is our ace right now. And I'm like, no, that's who you would rather be pitching the way he's pitching now. But it's the same with Garrett Cole. If Garrett Cole was getting shelled in a Boston series or whatever have you, you wouldn't suddenly just hand the crown over to some other pitcher. It's stupid. What? Wells football jersey
You
night?
haven't seen that? Dude, the football jersey looks so dope, and it's Wells. And look, like, you know, I was a big Wells fan. I still think he can find it. But this year is a wash. Like, he's not... I need to make this very clear. Austin Wells isn't going to have another July or August like he did last year this year.
Wait, the football jersey has to be Austin Wells football jersey?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It was so cool, too. I like
it would have
actually
been so much better
one.
if it was Ben Rice.
Yeah, I mean,
it would have been
literally
so much better.
On it, like, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't get what they're doing. I mean, the Jazz Chisholm basketball jersey was cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, Jazz is at least a performer. I mean, his ops is 823. Jazz is still a good player. He's just inconsistent. Austin Wells he shouldn't have a football jersey.
I know.
Football.
I saw the comment.
What?
Someone said, what was it? So they must have planned this after the August. They were like, oh, yeah, he's killing it in August. So next August, we're going to have Austin Wells football jersey night.
Yeah, they couldn't have planned this in the last, 90 days. No way.
There's no way. No. September 6th. Oh, I might be going to that. Could you imagine if I was like, hey, guys, and I wore an Austin Wells
We'll make that
Yankee
part we'll
jersey?
make it our giveaway. At 20,000 subscribers, we'll give you an Austin Wells, our former Yankee Austin Wells. We'll give you his football jersey.
Oh, man. I'm rooting for him to turn it around, but here's my problem, and you said it perfectly. He is what he is. Like, right now, he is just, the launch angle is ridiculous. He's clearly just swinging for a home run. It's not me being a casual. Like, I'm seeing it. I don't know what happened. Yeah, dude, that would go so hard. Football jersey with Stanton, 27.
Yeah, he looks like a football player.
Yeah, I would, dude. I kind of want a Stanton. I'm not really even a jersey person anymore. I have the jersey in the background. I haven't worn a jersey in forever, but I kind of want a Stanton jersey now. Like, it just, he's like
hell of a time for you to get a Stanton jersey. Jake's like, I've seen 7 years of him being on this team. I'm going to get his jersey now. Did you ever think, by the way, when we were the beginning of last year, like start of this podcast, and we're like, what is Stan even on this roster for? He's hitting 210. He's not slugging. He's hurt all the time. Could you imagine if I told you, over a year from now, like well over a year from now, you're going to want his jersey?
Dude, if you told me, hey, Jake, we're starting the show in February of 2024. Next year, in August, Giancarlo Stanton is not only going to be good, he's going to be the hottest hitter in baseball. He's going to have 17 home runs and only have started 36 games.
I tell you, what a masterclass from Aaron Boone.
I would be like, what are you smoking? Because like he looked like his career was done. Like he just did.
Everyone, there are going to be people who show up here and be like, no, I always believed. No, you didn't. You
might have said it, but you didn't believe what you were saying at the time.
No, there's no possible way. So what do we want them? So I presume we should sweep tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
That should be the expectation. You got to sweep. What do we want them to drop in the comment section? Because this episode's been as long as Oppenheimer.
No, it hasn't. That's 3 hours. So I would probably put us at not a Scorsese film. I'm going to go. This is definitely. Let me look this up real quick. I feel like this has been as long as Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
which I also haven't seen.
Dude, what the hell? Come on. How long is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? You need to see it, by the way. It's so good.
That's with Brad Pitt, right?
Yeah, it is. Oh, I was nine minutes off.
Is it like 2:40?
It's 2:40. Oh well. Okay, let's drop in the comment section. They're playing the Nationals, so it doesn't have to be baseball related. Let's we're getting close to football season. Everyone drop your favorite football team.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Drop that in the comment section and be sure, I don't know how you would possibly be here for 2 hours and 32 minutes of your time and not be subscribed to Yankees Unloaded. I don't know how close we are now, but we are within a day or two of getting to 10,000 subs. We're going to give away a Yankees jersey of your choice. If you're with us at Apple, be sure to drop us a 5-star review just for the hell of it. Helps us out a ton. And of course, like this video.